right, Chris, you wanna take us off?
Hi. How are we doing today, guys? My name is Skeleton Lipstick. I'm here with Young Shiro, as always. This is Hot Takes, the talk show where we discuss hot takes on music, art, life, and everything in general. And when we say hot takes, that doesn't necessarily mean something edgy. That means something that just stirs the pot, stirs the cultural stew of art, as it were. And how are we all doing today?
Yes,
Good.
welcome. Thank you for rating us, Tech. And
Thanks
if
for
anybody
rating us,
was,
Tech.
yeah, if anybody was paying attention with the intro screen, thank you, Indie Advent, for your unceasing contributions to the quality of hot takes. Guys, please let us know if we are out of sync, if we're too loud, if we're too quiet. DS Dude says, don't forget to shout out the you-know-what. Chris, do you know what the you-know-what is?
No. Go.
100p. Skelly looks out of place. Yeah, Ed, hopefully you're just a little delayed. Sorry about the intro, guys. All right, so we're here. We have a very special guest today, but we're not bringing him in just yet because the poor guy needs a break. He needs to lozenge up and drink some tea.
That man is a trooper right now. And
don't forget to shout out iClick. Yes, that's right.
That man is a trooper right now, doing 2 shows in a row. Ooh. He's running a marathon right now, and he is clearly not in the best of shape, but man, is he powering through. God bless Tech Honors, right?
God bless
what a
Tech
great
Honors,
guy.
bro. Let us know if the music is too quiet, by the way. It was too quiet last week, I feel like, so let me know if you guys cannot hear the music. We're going to start off today's episode, if it's okay, with Dr. Chris is going to spotlight / showcase a preferred track, find, or just anything he wants.
Sure. All right. So basically, I've been listening a lot to an album that I think came out about 2.5 or 3 months ago by an artist by the name of Panic Pop. It's called 5 Star with an F and then an exclamation point in place of the I, and an F in place of the S as well. It's a really pretty interesting album, and I'm not exactly sure how to categorize it because it borrows from a lot of different styles throughout the entire album, moving from things like traditional vaporwave echo jam style to a future funk style to some trappier beats to some more techno beats to even some more sort of EDM future bass like beats. And it's an outstanding album full of just a variety of sounds and textures, and the whole thing puts me into some sort of almost psychedelic trance when I listen to it. And I really can't recommend it enough because it's just so goddamn playful. And I think that's just such an important thing to have when you are making an album that's full of energy. You know, it's one thing to make an energetic album, but it's really another thing to make a playful album, an album that engages you and kind of draws you into, you know, a world where you can kind of dance and interact with the music in a way. Sometimes there's a lot of highly energetic music that I hear, but I just feel like I'm kind of a spectator on the outside of glass looking at it. But this album really makes me feel like I'm pulled into it and I'm in that world, and that it's moving me into the artistic space. And that's really important, I think, when you make music that, you know, when you make music that's going to be sort of dancey or energetic, you know, you want to make the listener feel like they're enveloped into something, and not that they're just like having something happen in the background. Like, you can't let this movie. I feel like I'm in a movie when I listen to it. You can't. This music this music insists on not being background music. Basically, it insists on being a world, and that is one of the highest achievements you can create in music. Is to change sound waves into an environment, right? And 100%, this album does that. I'm a big fan of it. So
that's badass.
For sure.
Do you see yourself dropping some of those tracks into any future DJ sets, maybe?
Oh, for sure. I'm a big fan of this album. I'm definitely going to be bringing some tracks from it into my next DJ set.
To the album. Do you have a favorite track? Do you have a top pick for people like me that are impatient and just want to hear maybe get their feet a little wet?
So, oh boy, that is interesting. So my personal favorite track on the album is the last one, Time Crisis, which features BYLL Bill, which is just a fun track that goes in all kinds of different directions. But there's another song on it called Promise Me, which is this really just outstandingly smooth. I wouldn't call it an echo jam exactly. I feel like a little bit more going on in it than just an echo jam. But it's sort of like an advanced echo jam is how I would refer to it. Maybe like an echo jam for 2021, and it's called Promise Me, and that is that actually might be my favorite track on the entire album. Now that I think about it, that's the one I would recommend to people. And now that I'm thinking about it again, I think that might actually be maybe my favorite track on the whole album. But the whole album is really good. I'm a big fan of it.
Very nice. I will definitely be checking it out. And I appreciate you giving one specific track because I am not like I like to listen to one or two tracks. I'm a busy man. I know that some albums are concept albums. They're start to finish. You got to put that vinyl on or put that cassette on. But I'm lazy. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of which, I want to shout out a bunch of people in the chat. We got iClick, we got Pete Bartel, we got Enreal, we got Lux Elite in chat. Is that Earthboy Advance? What's up, bro? Indy, Shiny Crystal Pistol, Smug Duck, Origami Vato. We got Maki. Lots of good people.
Hey.
Zanrai
look at all these
Kid
wonderful people. Oh, Obsidian Allure. My girlfriend's here right now. How about that?
What? Which one is your girlfriend? Obsidian Allure? Sorry. Yeah. Hey, we got Equip here. We got Shiny Crystal. I think I said Shiny Crystal Pistol already. Sleep Pattern, Haley Aaron. Thanks for being here, guys.
I'm going to make one more album recommendation while we're waiting for everybody to get settled.
Thanks another for the follow, Droner. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to give one more album recommendation right now. It's going to be Frogmore's newest album, Voyager.
Golden Joe. I love that guy.
Great. Frogmore's most recent album, Voyager. It's pretty outstanding. This album sounds to me like as if I were in a spaceship and there were speakers in the spaceship, right? And that's just it's some sort of combination between a mall and a spaceship. If that makes any sense to you. But if that were a real thing, this would be the background music that's playing while you're walking through the decks of this spaceship mall hybrid, in my opinion. And it's a really enveloping album, and I say that it feels like that because it's got these, nothing is overwhelming on it. The beats don't overwhelm you all the time, but they're in this distant background, and it's a really, really fabulous album. Or maybe it even sounds like I'm listening to this like I have a space helmet on, and I'm traveling into I'm an astronaut that has been put into some new dimension, as almost like a test subject.
Jesus.
And to reduce my stress, in my space helmet, there are speakers, and those speakers are pumping music to me to create the background to keep me sane as I travel into this new dimension. So that's how I feel about that album.
I love the way you describe music.
It's how I see music. It's just when I hear music, I picture a world I picture a world. Or I try to create a world for it when I hear it. And that's the one I have for Frogmore's album, Voyager. I think that maybe, I don't even know. I think my favorite song on that might be Off-World Nightlife. I think it's, and if you want to start with the song, you can start with that.
Okay.
But great. It's a great album.
Is it too difficult for you to drop a link in the chat real quick?
I mean, if you want to take over talking for a moment.
Yep. Actually, let me do that because I have a spicy hot take for you guys. Let me get the flames gif up here. Oh shit. So today's hot take of the day is brought to you by me. And my hot take is I think singles and EPs are trash. I don't like paying for them. I like paying for full-length albums, and I love overpaying for full-length albums to support my friends. But why would I go out of my way to get something that's really, really short? I don't know. Is that a shitty opinion? What do you think?
Okay, so what do you guys think? And I'll give my opinion.
Yeah, I want to hear what you guys think because I know singles and EPs are super in, especially in the lo-fi house genre. It's always like 2 tracks side A, 2 tracks side B. I don't
feel
know.
like
I love supporting my
like
friends
that-
with merch and Patreons and shit, but I don't want to pay for 4 tracks. The fuck?
Okay, so basically, all right, first things first, I almost feel like the lo-fi artists, the lo-fi house artists that are doing that, it really does kind of feel like a throwback to the singles that they used to do.
It's true.
As that were like sort of promotional things they would give to DJs. So I guess you could kind of make that argument with the lo-fi house artists, is that they are it's almost pastiche to do that, you know what I mean? To have like the blank album sleeve with like 2 or 3 tracks,
And it's like written on marker.
Yeah, it's written on marking, so like the DJs back in the day would be able to locate it easier when they were doing their sets. So I guess you could say that's a little pastiche, but I'm with you about the EPs. I don't really think I don't think there's quite a place for those anymore. Extended plays I guess there's a place for everything if you want, but it doesn't seem to be the most practical thing. You know, when I think of like extended plays, I think of just a time when you were buying albums more often in like a Sam Goody or something. You know, sometimes I'd be at like Sam Goody or The Wall, and I bought my album already, right? I already bought my 1 CD. Like I bought, I went and I already bought like Soundgarden Super Unknown, but now I got a little bit extra money on me, and I'm like, well, Alice in Chains has an EP. Maybe I'll buy the Jar of Flies EP. You know, like it was something you could use as an impulse buy.
There are some sick ass
main
EPs
album
out there.
But buying it just off Bandcamp, I don't see the pragmatism in it very much.
I mean, as a DJ, I can understand buying a single because it's like lossless and you want to use it in like
singles are a different thing altogether. EP, I say, doesn't make terribly much sense anymore. You can release it, sure, but if I'm not going to a record store, it doesn't serve. It's not the easiest thing to buy. Now, singles, that's a completely different thing, man. I release a lot of singles actually right now, and while I don't expect people to buy the singles. Really, I am releasing a lot of singles.
Oh yeah, you just put out Skelly Smoochums, didn't you?
I put out. I think like everything I put out Skelly Smoochums. I have the Super Flat remix that I put out. I have another single coming out called Vapor Never Sleeps, which I'm just developing. Now, here's the thing about the singles. When you are making an album, that's your artistic statement. That is a cohesive artistic statement, and you don't want to just release that all the time.
True.
Because that takes a lot of thought and a lot of organization and a lot of work, man. Like, I have to now not only the whole thing has to flow. Every track has to be mastered in a way where the volumes are correct.
You're not wrong.
I have a lot of promotion, maybe needs to be done for it. A lot of working with a label to release your work has to be done with it. It takes a long time to put them out sometimes if you're releasing it physically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's if you're going to just relegate yourself to only releasing albums, like you're going to have to wait a lot in between them to do them, to do that.
I feel
and
that.
We live in a world that moves at a very quick pace. Very quick pace. So
I feel that. I guess that's why most EPs don't cost as much.
No, and we don't have like the luxury of like, a year and a half or 2 years between records and not putting out any other output because, so many people can release music now. You want to keep yourself in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And a single can be very powerful. Do you know what I mean? A single can stand on its own. And the single can be on the album later.
You have to do a lot of work to remain, quote unquote, like relevant.
And the single can be on the album later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can or it does not have to. And I do like releasing the singles because it's another opportunity for me I don't have as much pressure on myself. The single can stand on its own, and the thing that makes the single harder is to develop the world around the single, right? You have to, developing a world around an album isn't the hardest thing. Well, it's hard, obviously, but it's really hard to do that with a single. So like, in the same way, a movie has a long play, an album is kind of like a movie. There's a lot of place for it to unfold, but a single is like a portrait, a picture, right? It's like a photograph. So you've got to like work really hard to make the photograph really stick. You know what I mean? You have to say a lot with one image in a photograph, and with a movie, you can say a lot with several images. So with an album, you can say a lot with several songs. With the single, you have to say a lot with one song. And so you have to really be careful about picking the artwork for it to really match the feel of the song, to match the feel of the artist. And the other thing is like, releasing the singles, you know, just to be, you know, like let's call a spade, releasing the singles keeps you in the logarithms, right?
Yeah,
releasing
yeah, absolutely.
Keeps you on the radar, man. Yeah. Like I mean, everything that I've gotten added to, you know, the music that I've released, which is, you know, I've been very lucky to have added to a couple different Spotify playlists right now, like, right, those are both singles, right? I released Real Time Lover as a single, and the vaporwave playlist picked it up. I released the Super Flat remix as a single, and the Future Funk playlist picked that up. Would I have been so lucky if those were released just on albums? I don't know. Right. Maybe they would have been ignored. I don't have none of my songs released on albums.
I love how the entire chat is completely agreeing with you. I guess this just has to be a good cop, bad cop routine, and I got to be the bad.
No,
cop.
You bring up a really strong point. Like I believe, you know, there's you know,
they have their place.
John Zabelli Christ said one time, you know, that, you know, he's like, he wouldn't want to see, he doesn't like the idea of Bandcamp becoming the same way Spotify is, where you can make playlists and such, because he said, I believe in the power of the album. And I do too. I believe in the power of the album. It should not be forgotten. Sometimes I don't want to see people rely too heavily on only releasing singles all the time. Like, you know, that's like what a lot of EDM artists are doing these days.
That is one thing that really bothers me when I go look up an artist that I really, really like, and it's all singles. The wave genre is particularly bad about that.
The wave genre is like all like, you ever look at like a wave genre? You ever look at the wave genres like, yeah, like playlist on Spotify, and like you just go to like releases, and then like to listen to their full discography, I have to like individually click each 20 singles in a row.
Super went out of their way to make like this like amazing artwork, and it's just like it's the one single. Like,
yeah, I get confused by that too. I think it's, you know, and I don't think it's the bad idea to, you know, release a few singles and then do the album, and you can put those singles onto the album as well. There's nothing stopping you from just releasing it twice. You know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe taking down the single if you want to, or keeping it up, doesn't matter. But you know, the power of the album shouldn't be forgotten, and we shouldn't rely so heavily on the singles. One thing, you know, and yeah, and a lot of EDM artists are doing that now too. Pretty much like every time I see a new release from an EDM artist these days, it's like, I think it's going to be an album, and it's really just a single, and it's not even, it's like a single with like the artist featuring like 5 of his friends. You know what I mean? It's like you know, it's like it's
the chat is clamoring for us to get Tech's input. Hey, I mean, we got singles, we got 6-hour-long albums. You guys are ready for Tech Honors, it seems.
Let's bring them on. Let's get
it. All right, so here comes Mr. Honors. Let me take away the... Where's the static? Come on, man. All right, here we go. Hey, nope, that's Dr. Chris twice. All right, Tech, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, man. Let me fix this window capture.
There.
Can you hear us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Ooh. There he is. Guys, bear with me. so Tech was on. If you watched Dino Hour, Tech was on a Discord call with me, so we could try to get a seamless transition. Here we go. Seamless transition. It did not work. His internet.
Sorry. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You have to do what you have to do, and you had to drop that. Not... There we go.
There we go.
That's so fun watching it collapse into the television like that. How elegant.
I'm glad you think that's fun.
That's vaporwave.
It's vaporwave.
Right. How you doing, Tech?
Oh yeah, we need to know how he's doing.
What? I'm sorry. Say again.
So everybody that watched Dino Hour probably already knows, but you're a little under the weather.
Yes, I have COVID-19.
Damn.
That's rough. It's been okay. I was a lot sicker past few days. Today I'm not quite as bad. So
you got a couple care packages.
I did. I got some care packages. I got some tea and some cough drops from Blashy.
Who made how fun! Blashy. How kind of Blashy? Blashy's been to T-Field before. He's a great dude.
Blashy is a great dude.
That's been I was drinking tea the whole time I was doing the stream, and now I'm just on water, but yeah.
Hey man, hang in there. Don't feel like you have to go the whole 2 hours. Obviously, these 43 viewers are here I'm sure they probably like me a little bit, probably like Dr. Chris a lot, but they're here to see and hear from you.
Well, I thrive on engaging. So if anything, I have felt better the past couple hours than I.
This guy's a trooper, y'all. I messaged him and I was like, "We'll postpone it, dude. It's cool."
I know. I can't.
And he was like, "Oh, I was really looking forward to it."
You trooper, you hero.
The thing, my problem is that COVID. I've made so many. I haven't made light of COVID, I don't think, but I've dealt with COVID as a situation through humor, which is what I do.
Yeah.
On Twitter, so much, made so many jokes at COVID's expense.
You did.
That for it to come kick my ass and prevent me from doing a show or stream, was bullshit. I was like, well, if it kicks my ass, then I look like an idiot. So I had to come back against it.
I think that using humor as a way to deal with difficult situations is important. You know what I mean? And I think I hate when it gets lost on people. Do you know what I mean? You know, I hate when people take things overly serious, which are very clearly humorous, because the fact is that, you know, we need to do these things sometimes to make it through, just to keep ourselves sane and just to take away the power of something hard. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, that's what keeps me coming back to
I do that all the
Dino
time
Hour.
in the hospital. Dude, that's what we
Shit is
do. That's what we do.
hilarious.
That's what you literally have to do when you work in hospitals or trauma bays or deal with really difficult situations. Like, there has to be some little bit of gallows humor, or else you're just going to fucking suffer. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, so... You know, I think it's fine that you used the humor. You should feel bad about that. That's like a totally reasonable thing. I don't think you feel bad about it, actually.
No, I don't personally, but I have gotten pushback from at least one person before that was didn't like that I was making light of it. I think they were more, and they're a good person. They were just more upset about the idea that I was using it, or I was making light of it during the pandemic. It was almost like their attitude about it was more, that it was like a too soon kind of thing, or that there were literally thousands and thousands of people dying all throughout the year. And so the idea that I was making a joke, but it's like, well, there are so many things that we make jokes about where people die because of it. I don't know why does COVID get this special treatment? If anything, it's just something that I was just like, this is how I'm coping with something that's catastrophically horrible in the universe. So, yeah.
There's a lot of criticism about how people want to cope with things sometimes, and I don't really like that, because, you know, it's just like the world's really fucking hard, and it's really fucking dark and bad, man. And like, I just think it's like ridiculous when people are like, no, you should be wallowing in it. You should be sorrowful and serious all the time. And I'm like, fuck you, man. These people have no idea about sorrow, man. Let me tell you a little bit about fucking sorrow, okay? I used to deal with that all the time in hospitals, all the time in trauma bays, all the time watching children die in front of me, trying to stop them from dying and them still dying, okay? I hate people want to lecture about sorrow, okay? You have no fucking clue. Like, relax, okay?
Damn, that is
it's okay for people to use humor. It's okay for people to cope. You know what I mean? Like, you are just sitting there in your computer, looking at statistics, telling people what to do, judging people all the time, and you have no fucking clue about actual sorrow. You're just trying to get attention. Shut the fuck up.
Truth.
Sorry. I take a little bit of umbrage to the people who are a little overly serious sometimes, because I just think that they're just trying to be like, they're trying to be this like noble, they're trying to have this bit of like fake nobility. You know what I mean? This fake nobility to be like on the internet, to look like something. And I'm not trying, and like, you know, we should of course be mindful of everything and serious too, and treat things with, you know, the dignity and respect that they deserve. But god damn it, man, we need humor too. Please.
There's some people in the chat that don't know that you're a doctor. Yes.
Yeah, man, I'm a surgeon.
Dude, I've seen some of the pictures you posted, and they are gnarly, dog.
So I'm mostly in private practice right now, because, you know, I want to make music too, but I have worked in the trauma base pretty extensively. I have worked with a lot of serious things and done a lot of very serious things to save people. and been amongst some real tragedy, you know, and constant tragedy. That's the thing. When you work in a hospital, sometimes, particularly in a trauma bay, you just like, it's one after another, after another, after another. And I'm talking like,
gotta be rough on your
I'm talking
psyche,
like,
bro.
we're not talking about like just car accidents, self-inflicted gunshot wounds, machete fights. I swear to God, that was a real thing.
Are you serious? Jesus,
I've seen
dude.
a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff.
That's fucking crazy. I've seen things.
Dad, like I think a lot of the people who are trying to posture as noble would have no concept of even how to look at it.
The frustrating thing about that is that I mean, truly, like, the people who are doing this posturing that you're saying is it's not without like merit. They're trying to do what they feel is the right thing. You know what I
It's
mean?
confusing. It's confusing.
Everyone thinks they're the good guy.
It.
Like, everyone
Right.
earnestly believes in themselves and their own perspective.
Exactly, and that's what makes it kind of hard to. I think that's why I get a little bit frustrated with like the concept of like policing morality, because I don't think that there's the idea that we human beings love to like put it into just like a this is good, this is bad. They want to box it up, but I don't know. Things aren't always as like cut and dry.
Nothing is cut and dry in this world.
Yeah. So
Nothing
I think
is
that's
cut
kind
and
of.
dry in this world.
That's
And
kind of
we
why
got
I
trying
Christ
to make
in
it that
chat,
way.
y'all.
Crazy.
What's up,
John?
Hey,
John, I
what's
was
up,
literally just quoting you and talking about. You once said that you believe in the album, and that will bring us back to our original point too. Was belief in the full length album. You know what I mean? Over singles, right?
I already know what this
That'll bring
guy's
us
gonna say.
back to our point.
I still want to hear it though.
Oh,
Go ahead. Oh yeah. Sorry.
No,
Go
I
back
want to hear what you have to say.
about what album?
Yeah,
first,
man. I
singles
think
versus EPs, that kind
I
of
still
stuff?
think singles and EPs are. I mean, I want them. I just I want to pay
I was
for
thinking
the
about it.
album. I want to rip
Yeah.
that EP. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's funny. I think the album is just almost arbitrarily became the benchmark for like in the 50s and 60s when they would release like singles with the dominant format, right? And it wasn't until like the Beatles and the Beach Boys sort of made albums become the new. If you were a legitimate artist, you're gonna have a full album, not just a single, and that carried itself into the future, and sort of just became what is just accepted culturally. Like, people release singles, but like you need to have an album for it to like matter. But I think, while I feel like kind of like two ways about it. On the one hand, I think like I grew up with that, so I still do find value in an album over an EP, over a single. Like, to me, an album is like what matters. But then I also have to think about it. If I take a step back and think about it objectively, it's completely arbitrary.
It is. It's true.
You know what I mean?
There's
like,
no right or wrong answer.
Right. So it's funny because I feel like we're kind of coming back around to a point where singles are starting to usurp the value of the album.
Most definitely. Especially in more popular culture realm.
I said that albums are for your artistic statement, and singles are to keep you in the logarithms and just to release something to engage an audience. And they can be powerful too. You know what I mean? They can also be very powerful.
For sure. Singles are like definitely like. I think it used to be. Yeah, it used to be that you released singles and then you would make an album out of your singles.
True.
Then when albums
kind of like how 100p does things.
Became important, then it was you released albums and then you released singles to sell the album. And that is the 100% Electronica format. But I think when it comes to just like releasing, like you were saying, like you don't like singles, you don't like EPs.
I don't like paying for them.
Paying for them, yeah.
I love supporting my homies. I love buying merch. I love paying for albums. I love Patreon.
I don't expect people to buy I don't expect people to buy my singles. The singles are to have something to get people excited about. The singles are an opportunity to because it takes a long time to make it. I mean, I don't know how you do the albums as often as you're doing right now, Tech.
Dude, me neither. Jesus.
That's a whole other topic. I'm going to put that on to the side.
We are going to talk about that at some point.
But we'll put that up to the side for a moment. But releasing an album takes a lot of work. You have to make it cohesive. You have to tell a story. You have to create a world with it. You know, it has to mean something. It has to say something about you and your worldview a little bit. If you want to be that kind of artist, it has to at least say something, right? It has to be a big piece, and it requires getting the correct artwork. Have to master it so everything sounds the way everything sounds equalized. It takes and you have to, and then like, you even get into the part about the physical format part where you have to start talking to a label to release it, and then it's going to be like another couple months before that comes out. With a single, I can get the single written and then prepared for release within within like a month. You know what I mean? I can write the song and get it ready for release quickly, and I can still pick powerful artwork for it, and it can still mean something. And you know, the single is like a little quick conversation between friends, and the album is a long discussion where you pour your feelings out, right? You know, but the single is like a pop-up. You popped by to say hi. You know what I mean? I
think you're right about saying that the single is like it's more from marketing, and it's to get you into the algorithms at this point. Like it's different. I think singles now are different than they were in like the 90s, where it was something that was trying to sell your album. Now it's literally just trying to sell you, the artist. Continued relevance. So you're just by releasing a single, you stay on the playlist.
The world moves
we
quickly.
Need singles with What am I trying to say? Is capitalism the reason that we need singles?
I think the fast pace of the world is the reason we need singles, because I don't really make any money off a single, right? I think the fact that information moves quicker and quicker and quicker as we move forward into time, that's why we have to leave singles so often, because there's so much stimuli and there's so much quick access to stimuli. And you know, your attention span, I'm not even saying attention spans are shorter. They are, sure. Oh, you can make the argument they are or they aren't, but there's more things to pay attention to, and you can do it you can pay attention to multiple things at once right now. So, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of really cool shit out there. So, you know, you might really, there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to listen to, and people listen to something and then move on to the next thing. You can literally, on these applications, you literally like just run your finger up and scroll to the next thing and scroll to the next thing.
True.
And scroll to the next thing. I don't think singles are necessarily, I think singles are kind of anti-capitalist. I don't make a lot of money off them. I don't think many people make it. You just said you're not going to buy a single. Nobody buys a single. So what's it going to do? Go on a streaming station and you're going to make a few pennies? I mean, go ahead.
There's still
I'll be right back, fellas.
It's okay. I would say it's still serving a capitalist agenda just by virtue of keeping you around, so that so that people will continue to buy your stuff later. But but I think it's more like what you were saying. Like, it's not, we don't have shorter attention spans necessarily. It's just that all of the entertainment that we have to choose from has less potential real estate. So where there used to be 50 channels on TV, there are now 1,000. And you're still
what's funny?
one person.
Dude, you mentioned like 50 channels and now there's 1,000. It's not even television anymore. It's streaming stations, and you can select exactly what you want.
Right,
and then you can put it on, and then like that has like, it's like channels, but it's like 1,000 channels under the streaming service, and you can pick any one you want and you can just let it play, and it'll suggest a new one for you to watch after that. We're not even at channels anymore, right? At least channels will hold your attention because you have to watch them. Also, really brief break. World of Equip just said singles are campaign expansion packs made to elongate the scope of attention for your album, both pre and post release.
That is expansion packs.
How fun! How fun!
That's a perfect way of saying it, though, especially with the way that 100% treats it. I think a lot, maybe more pop music artists don't treat singles so much as like expansion packs on an album as much as they would just like keeping attention on the artist or whatever. But I do like the idea of like singles and remixes, and I think that's what like an EP is, EP expansion pack, if you will.
Yo, that works out so perfectly.
It does. Holy shit, Equip, you have to call your next EP the expansion pack. I mean, personally, I like Synthetic Core 88. Like, all of his music's amazing, but Synthetic Core 88 is just really special to me.
Oh, no, that album has one of my favorite Equip songs on it. The very last track, the credit roll.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think mine is the Sleeping Giant one. I can't remember what it's called. That or the Ivory Submarine one.
So, the other thing is that you know, with the amount of information that's coming in, there, you know, people can release things more often. There's a lot more stuff going on. There's a lot more things to pay attention to. You know, like, it's just so funny because, Tech, you know how I always post like the America's Funniest People clip under like you occasionally with like, you know, and like it's like the bloopers, but like you ever watch that and it's just like the dumbest shit you've ever seen in your life. It's just a bunch of people. It's like camcorders had just become an ubiquitous thing, so people were just like so amazed that they could record themselves, and they're like, woo, like pulling their cheek, and you could send that. You could send like a video in of someone going like blah blah blah, like to like a network. And you could send it to a network television, a network television that showed a show in prime time at like 8:30 at night in prime time television, and they'd play you doing that stupid. They play, dude. America's Funniest People is even worse than America's Funniest Videos. That's why I like it even more, because it's like the lowest common denominator of the 90s. Like, it's the worst shit in the world. It's like from 1991, and when people think of the 90s, they have like this dumb nostalgia for the good shit, like the Seinfelds or the good seasons of The Simpsons. And it's like, nah, bro, those exist outside time. You want to really know what the 90s were like? Watch America's Funniest
Candid Camera, bro.
Like, watch that shit. That's what the 90s were like. The other things, those were outliers. Like Seinfeld was an outlier. But what I want to say really quick is that my point is, though, is that dumb fucking video where someone grabs their cheek and says blah, blah, blah. You could send that to network television and potentially win $10,000. Like, you could not only be played on network TV at 8:30 at night on a major network, but you could win $10,000 for doing that dumb shit. Do you know how much work people do today to get 15 seconds of your attention? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for no money, like, whatsoever? Like, it's ridiculous how that's my point about how fast the world moves now, because technology is so democratized and we can do so much with it that, like, man, I got to release singles. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I can't.
No, it's like mandatory. Yeah. Like,
I mean, and I
have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And the other thing, the last thing I mentioned, and then I'm going to stop talking, is just that I said it before you came on the show, but like for me at least, anytime I've been picked up by one of the Spotify playlists, it's been a single. Like, I didn't get anything off my albums put on the vaporwave playlist, but one of my singles, Real Time Lover, did. I didn't get anything from any of my albums put on the Future Funk playlist, but the Super Flat remix I made did. So, you know, I don't know how this shit works. You know what I mean? So maybe you got to release singles sometimes. And I'm done talking. What do you guys have to say?
I have a question for Tech. So we don't have to necessarily talk about the content if you don't want to, but you had a particularly spicy take on Twitter just a couple of days ago.
Oh boy.
Is there ever like a time that you've made a statement and felt like, I don't know, maybe that was a little too spicy? Or do you 100% stand by your words every time?
I made a take one time that I deleted after like 4 or 5 hours because I think I used the term leftist where I probably meant liberals. But
oh boy,
that's probably because basically I was like blaming leftism for something when it was more like liberalism than leftism, and so then I got pushback from one person on that, and I thought about it a little bit. I was like, this is just incorrect. So I deleted it.
You deleted it because it was factually incorrect.
I felt that it was factual. I was using the wrong term. When it comes to like the tweet that I made, whatever the fuck that was it the DMX one?
All right, yes, the DMX one.
Yeah, I think that it's I stand by it. I wouldn't delete that. I think
you definitely got some people talking.
I think that I think it makes people get a little bit. I feel like people get a little bit sensitive. Well, first off, death makes people sensitive, right?
Death makes people sensitive. That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, and so I don't think like sometimes people have a hard time dealing with saying bad things about someone who has just died. But I think it's really funny when that is an argument that is used. I think the DMX thing was a perfect example because DMX and Prince Philip died on the exact same day, right?
2021
and was
crazy.
There was absolutely no shortage of people ripping on Prince Philip. And I'm not defending Prince Philip as like a human being.
Those memes were fire.
But people were shitting on Prince Philip's grave the whole time. Okay, fine. But so my thing was just that, like, if there's gonna be this weird, like, if it's okay to, like, make fun of people when they're dead, or if you're going to police the morals of someone when they die, then why isn't that done across the board?
Well, because that's not the culture we exist in, right? I mean, Prince Philip is seen as an enemy, right? As an enemy is a monarchist. It's somebody who's seen as a leech. He's seen as a leech, basically, right? He lives a giant welfare baby, right? All he does is live off the riches, the money of other people because of some bizarre fucking, like, strange historic rite that traces back so far and involves so many weird things that, like, no clergyman or historian could ever even untangle the reason as to why these people have the wealth that they do and why we tolerate it. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, kind of 100% fuck what he represents, right? As for DMX, I'm not, you know, I know I'm agreeing with you, Tech, right now about that 100%.
Yeah.
But
same.
DMX is the soundtrack for some of these kids, right? He means more to them because he's their soundtrack, right? Regardless of what his character was, and regardless of what Philip's character was, he represents a welfare state that leeches from people, that represents, like, privilege that's completely born into and undeserved, and is hurts the people underneath him. And DMX has done a lot to hurt people, probably personally, and said a lot of offensive things. And I don't know anything about DMX, honestly. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't know anything about his history.
I don't know a lot. I
only know about his singles. That's it. But what I do know is that he's the soundtrack for some of these kids' youth. He's like, he means what his art is for them means something, right? But Philip means nothing.
For Philip, right? Exactly.
So we can't really live in this sort of, like, world where everything is policed equally, because it's not.
The problem, I think, is that it's okay. Like, all I really want people to, like, be, like, to get out of it or whatever is to just recognize that it's okay to, like, have complex feelings about the things that you like or don't
That's
like.
Smart.
It's okay.
Well
beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yeah, like, it's not everything is going to be like perfectly black and white or whatever. And so it was really frustrating. I got, like, I got accused multiple times of racism because DMX is black. And first off, I've made fun of plenty of shitty white people who died when they died. But that's neither here nor there. My point it didn't have anything to do with that. It was not that you shouldn't, it's not that we should just shit on every single person or that we shouldn't shit on anyone at all. It's just that it should just be fine to, like, accept that things are not 100% one way or the other. Like, I love the Beatles. I fucking love the Beatles. I love the
Beatles too.
The Beatles Beatles. They did wonderful things for the world. They John Lennon beat his wife. That's shitty. It's like a shitty fucking horrible thing to do. They probably almost undoubtedly used racial slurs. There's a performance where John Lennon is just, like, openly mocking, like, a mentally handicapped, doing an impression of,
okay, let's move away from the specifics.
You guys need to read this chat, by the way, while we're having this super serious conversation. This chat is going crazy, and it's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious what these people are saying.
It's hot takes vapor. You want the hot take? Look,
I do want the hot takes. I did ask for it.
All right. But so anyway, I won't get into the details, but David Bowie did some very suspicious things.
Yeah, David Bowie did suspicious things. Everybody did, right?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is just like that. This happens, like, and that sucks, and, like, we can do things to, like, not do, like, repeat those things. But I don't think you're gonna live in a world where you're going to make every celebrity morally pure. Like, you're just not going to make that happen. And to to even expect celebrities who are regular people, to even expect them to have these like perfectly like pure moral values that, again, that gets into the whole like, well, what is like morally correct?
Oh shit, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
hey, we're interviewing you, not Keith Rankin, bro. Do you believe in God?
Do you believe in God? Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I just wish more people would just be comfortable with the fact that like you can dislike things about the things that you do like and still enjoy those things.
I think you said it beautifully when you said
Yes.
it's okay to have complex feelings about the things you enjoy.
It doesn't have to be binary. Like
Right.
you said, and you said it before, Chris, you know, you can't take away those special memories you have with various artists, even if they turn out to become super problematic. Like, what are you going to do?
You
Go
can't-
back and forget that you found Roman Polanski or Woody Allen or...
You can't unexperience the way the art made you feel. You can't unexperience it. And honestly, no one can take that away from you. Not even the
thanks
artists
for the follow,
themselves.
Young Chuck.
They can't take that away from you. That's yours. The way you felt when you heard that art or experienced that art or saw that art, that is yours now. It belongs to you, and no one can take that away, not even the artists themselves. And honestly, these artists are just, they're just human. They're vessels for something greater than them at the end of the day.
I think
You don't have to buy their shit if you don't like. I'm sorry. Last thing I want to say is
No,
like, you don't have to. You can still like, and that's like you don't have to buy their shit. You don't if you don't agree with what they're saying or what they're doing, you don't have to support them. You don't have to buy their shit. But if you experience the art, you can continue to experience the art. You know what I mean? It moved you. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's why I think the idea.
Just don't buy it. Yeah.
I think I get frustrated too because I think so I'm a proponent of the concept of separating the art from the artist, and I really like it. I totally 100% respect when someone says I cannot separate the art from the artist.
That's choice.
Same.
Keith, for example, is I mean, he's in Death's Dynamic Shroud. He like we had a big conversation about it when we were recording the new album. The idea of
Wow.
like, can you like mentally separate that or whatever. 100%, I can. I can just like put it away. But what I don't like is when the counter argument states that separating the art from the artist is a morally unsound behavior. Because if let's use DMX as an example because it's like a little Joker moment here, but if I like DMX and he's got these homophobic and transphobic lyrics, then I am, according to the people who preach this, then I am putting aside all of the feelings that I have for my homosexual friends, my trans friends. I am putting their feelings aside just for the enjoyment of this artist. But basically what I'm saying is if your argument is that separating art from the artist is morally not okay, then I just fundamentally disagree with you, and that's when I take umbrage with the idea that you're policing morality it doesn't, the way that you're doing it doesn't make any sense because you're literally just deciding what is. Doesn't matter.
You're going down a rabbit hole, but I hear you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's too impossible to that's what morality is not. It's not a real thing. It doesn't innately exist. There is no such thing.
Do you think, even though morality doesn't exist, do you think maybe like the effects of one's actions are important? Like, that's
Yes.
a dumbass question. Of course you do.
Really good point.
But morality
Hurting
exists.
versus helping is morality, I guess.
Morality exists socially.
True. We punish people that
it
do
doesn't
bad
exist
things.
cosmically
In a perfect
socially,
world.
right?
Yeah.
So we have to have some sort of rule set for us to all be, it's not cosmically there's nothing morally wrong with me killing someone. but socially there is, and so we have to operate with the, like, the social morality. But the problem still exists that
damn, I should have had the air horn ready for that one.
There is no there is no actual
clip text saying that it's cosmically okay to kill people.
Yeah, somebody clip that, please.
It's cosmically
are all
okay
the people that unsubbed tech honors in the chat right now, by the way? Because you were invited.
I would say that it's good that mindfulness is a thing, right? I think it's a really, you know, there's never navigating the world of people's feelings and the world of consequence is a thing that we all have to do. You know, that we've always had to do, I guess, right? And it always changes. And you're right. There's no universal truths to anything. It's more about listening to people. You know what I mean? I guess, and just hearing what they have to say and being open to them. And I think I try to be. Sometimes I lose it, like I just did earlier when I was saying fuck this and fuck that nobility, that fake nobility. But I did earlier. But I try to pull myself back and to be not reactionary and to be above the reactionary things that people might always kind of like fall into once in a while. Because it's a bad hole to fall into, right? You know when you start arguing back and forth with people about things, you know, it can become a morass, you know, right? It's just best to let people sometimes say what they have to say and just try and hear it from their perspective, and then still have your own after that. Easier said than done, right?
I think what you're saying is what would be ideal, in that people would be willing to listen. Sometimes change the way that they feel, but sometimes not if they disagree. But in a general sense, be accepting of the fact that there's a fluidity to morality that isn't always going to be. I mean, morality literally is subjective, so everybody's going to have their own interpretation. There's going to be a lot of overlapping between people, but it's not always going to be exactly the same. And that's why it does really it frustrates me when people start to be like, no, you're being an objectively bad person by liking the Beatles because John Lennon did something really shitty.
I think the best thing to do is to remain above that stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think the best thing to do is to remain above it and to not engage. You know, it's just people are going to want to pull you into that world of arguments. And to me, getting pulled into that world of arguments about art distracts me from art. Do you know what I mean? Like whenever I see people having these big conversations and then all of a sudden they're like reposting their feelings about stuff that they heard someone else say here and there. And I just get like, I just roll my eyes so hard. And I just look at these people doing this all the time. And I say like, you are just like, you're wasting, your energy is so precious. Your time is so precious. You could be using all this energy that you have been taking to craft your response to someone's tweet that made you upset. And you could be using it to make your art. If you don't like their vision of the world, you have the energy to create your own vision of the world, and you can start doing it. You can pick up your instruments, pick up your sampler, pick up your art, whatever you use to make art, and start making your own world, your own vision. And that can be a more powerful response to than just sitting there and like engaging in whatever Discord chat you're in back and forth, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you have such limited, your energy is limited. Your time is limited.
Equip has some good words in the chat. He says,
channel it.
So much more could be accomplished if there was more empathy. Literally, all humans want is to be understood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like, yeah,
right.
Absolute truth right there.
People, it's so hard to feel understood. So hard to feel understood when you're not really specifically talking to people, right? You're just like talking to a screen and a collection of dots that form these strange little shapes that we refer to as words and letters, right? So fucking ridiculous.
Well, I think like also, I mean, you're not wrong. I think like I was disappointed in myself after the whole DMX thing because I spent so much time in the replies.
It's human. I do that too. We all do that.
I know. Usually though, when I post something, I won't allow myself to get too caught up in the replies because I don't care, but I wanted to try and like articulate what I meant, but it didn't seem to matter, which is how it always goes, and that's why I was disappointed in myself. But also, I mean, it's no secret. Like I'm kind of a troll on Twitter. Like that's.
Yeah, I thought
like,
that was like that's like the funny thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
So like that.
I think it's good to take you as like satire and humor. Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, like I do post things sometimes to get a certain rise out of people, and it helps to clear out my followers sometimes, because then I lose some followers, and it's like, well, I didn't want you anyway.
I didn't want you.
Yeah, damn.
No, I think it's just what I don't want to be associated with. I don't want to be associated with that, like any sort of subsection of the community that has further takes that are way too the other direction. Yeah. I'm not about being like an edgelord, if that's what.
No, I just that's, you know, that doesn't lead to much to be that way when you're like that. It doesn't. Doing that, you know, it inspires people in the wrong directions. Do you know what I mean? You know, when you want to open up. This, I sound so fucking lame and wholesome. You want to open people's hearts and minds, right? You know what I mean?
Hey, like, the duality of Dr. Chris.
You don't want to like just sort of appeal to their gut reactions for shit. You don't want to appeal to this gut anger gestalt reaction, right? You want to appeal to openness. You want to come off as patient and understanding with people, because it opens them up and just changes them. And you don't want to change their opinion. You want to change them, right? You want to change how they feel about things, right? You can never really change people's opinions, but you can sometimes alter the way that they interpret information and see it differently. But
I usually just like to ask them questions. Like, why don't you self-examine?
I usually just be nice. I just say, okay, it's fine. Yeah. And I try, you want to talk about that a little bit more? Like, you know,
it's like, I learned a long time ago, like, the easiest way to get people to like, I guess if you're I don't know, maybe this is like sociopathic or something, but the way
I've got my finger on the air horn button, bro.
No, it's
actually, I have one just for you.
Wait, go, Tech. You please.
Yeah.
No. It's the way to like.
I'm sorry.
I guess you manipulate
way too late.
The conversation. You manipulate the conversation to be like, if you want someone to understand something, and they have like a certain opinion that's like toxic or whatever, you're not going to be able to get them to change it. Yeah, not outright. What you can do is basically. How do I even like? Okay, let's try like this instead. Suppose someone is wrong about something, like factually.
Okay.
They are like they say that that Radiohead's first album is The Bends, right?
Okay.
Okay.
And Pablo Honey is the actual first album, right? So they're like. That well on their first album with whatever Ben song, and then instead of being like, instead of trying to tell the person that they're wrong, you can say something like be like, wait, The Bends is their first album? And then they go, yeah. And then you go, oh I thought it was Pablo Honey, but I don't know, you might be right. And that's all you have to do to get them to be, they'll walk away from the conversation still maintaining that The Bends is the first album, but they'll go into it later accepting the idea that they were wrong.
I don't think there's anything wrong with what you just said. That seems reasonable. That seems reasonable. You know, I don't think that's sociopathic. I think that's just like, you're just like, well, I thought it was this.
Well,
do you think maybe that's manipulative? Is that why you think you said sociopathic?
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be a better word aside from manipulative and sociopathic for
you're
what
doing
that
something
is,
for the good of humanity.
Well, it's like you're doing something without embarrassing somebody. What you're doing is you're doing something without embarrassing somebody. You know what I mean?
Okay, so EXE2MP3 said, Tech, that's all well and good when it's something as harmless as the first Radiohead album, but what about a fundamental human rights issue? So my approach to that is, obviously there's going to be like fundamental human rights issues. You're going to have, at a certain level, you're going to have a point where people have a differing perspective on what is morally sound and what is not morally sound. Everybody's going to think they're right, including myself. And so what I would do is, in like a situation where a person is talking about like how, if you're talking about like a somebody is, I don't know, homophobic or something like that, and they're making claims about how it's against God, or
it's not natural.
It's not natural, that kind of thing. I would still approach it in a similar light. I would not personally be the kind of person that would be like adamantly telling them that they are wrong, because that's just not how like I combat that kind of conversation. I would still go into it. I would just be listening, and then I would probably like say things like, "What about blah 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 blah," and make them think about their.
Me too, bro.
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. Get people to think.
And so you keep asking them. So if I can I go into a quick anecdote here?
Please do.
I had a coworker who was a flat earther. She 100% believed that the Earth was flat, and so she was very, very, very into conspiracy theories and all that jazz. And so she was trying to explain to me why the Earth was flat, and I was like, okay. I said, what's on? She said that Antarctica is at the rim of the Earth, and I was like, well, what happens if you go over the edge? She's like, you can't, because the government won't allow people to go to Antarctica, which is, I don't know if that's factually true, but I highly doubt it. But anyway, I wasn't able to like combat that, but I was like, all right, well, she said something about how if the Earth is traveling, like as if it was a globe and it's traveling super fast, and I have to fly from Ohio to California, why wouldn't I just, if it's moving that fast, why wouldn't we just like go into an airplane and wait for California to come to us? And I was like, well, I think instead of being like, because that's not how fucking physics work, I was just like, well, if you are on like a train and you throw a ball up in the air, the ball doesn't go all the way back, right? It goes up and then it comes back down, right? Because you're both moving, so everything's moving. And so she was like tried to think about it. I was like, it's like theory of relativity or whatever. But the point was, I just kept asking questions about how would this work? What about this? What about other celestial bodies, beings? And there were all kinds of weird answers. But at a certain point, the answer finally, like she was just like, I guess I'll just have to do more research.
Great.
And that's, and to me, she was a lost cause. I don't think that I had any chance of ever changing her mind about it. But I certainly wasn't going to get anywhere screaming in her face about it.
Yeah, you can't even do anything at that point, can you?
That's not how you would want to be talked to.
So you know what's really fascinating to me about those people who are like flat earthers or don't believe in this or don't believe in that? It's just that it just really speaks to the just the loneliness of people, that they need to find themselves a group that they could be associated with, so they can connect with somebody, so they can be a part of something, so they can feel like they have some kind of power. And people feel very powerless, right? Particularly if they're not educated, or they don't have a lot of opportunities, or if they just don't have a lot of friends or a lot of social life, right? So they go online and somehow they end up in a flat earther group, and then all of a sudden they start making these friends, and they have like a little community, and they all share a whole like collection of information and signs and sigils and.
Chris, you still with us? Did we lose him?
We may have lost him.
Oh, damn.
I know exactly what he's talking about, though.
I think is the stream frozen?
You're frozen. Oh, you're back. You're back.
I'm frozen.
You're absolutely right, though. That's how people get drafted into like white supremacists.
Did you ever watch the Flat Earth documentary? There's like a little one about them, and like one of the main guys
Will
in
Wade
it
was
is just
saying
like
it was a hella good documentary.
It was, and like the main guy they interview, and it is just like this guy's a lonely guy, and like now he has friends. Now he gets to go to conventions and speak, and now he feels like he has a community. And like, I mean, I'm like 90% sure that's probably how bronies started, right? Like, it started as a joke, and then it turned into something bigger, and then people had friends, people had community now, right? It's just what's vaporwave, right? And we build a community around
exactly.
our art. Now it's hard for me to criticize. I mean, I can criticize because the community that we have here is built around creating art and music, and that feels a little bit more important than other things. But at the end of the day, who am I to say? These flat Earth people and these other people in these fringe groups, that's just like this is their family, this is their friends now, this is their social group. They can't betray it. I don't even think that's anything new. It's just
it's exclusive knowledge. It's where people feel like
they're in on something. They're in on something. Yeah,
dude, I had an era from 2003 to 2006 where I was a hardcore conspiracy theorist.
Dude, I had a conspiracy theorist era too, and it was actually around the same time. That's weird.
It was bad.
They're fun to read about, dude. I just never really bought into them,
I definitely was like fucking real bought into it. It was bad.
Really?
Wow.
Really? Do you mind divulging what some of the ones that you were like, this is fact? Like,
no. So for 100%, I believed that. So I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist, but at the time I was a Christian, and I believed in.
So interesting.
I believed that the Bible was at least the first 5 books, the Torah, was a code, and I believed that you can look up Bible code, but it was a whole bunch of shit. Anyway, point is,
numerology and shit.
Yeah, it predicted the future, etc., etc.
And there was all this proof fascinating.
That it did. Yeah, no, obviously, yeah. But it made me feel like I knew what was going to happen. It made me because I predicted, or I was told all these predictions about like these meteors that were going to strike the Earth and where they would hit, and how many people would die, etc., etc. And but it made me, I got into the fucking Zeitgeist movie, so I bought into the whole like anti-Federal Reserve, and it just got to this really bad.
Louis Theroux, I love that guy.
Well, they mentioned iClick mentioned my Scientology documentary. That's the Louis Theroux one, right?
I mean, I've met Ron Paul.
But anyway,
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I used to be libertarian, bro.
It got really
go ahead,
dark.
Jack. Yeah.
It got really dark.
Dark. Oh god.
I eventually, I truly I genuinely thought that I was eventually just going to have to kamikaze myself into like a bank or something.
Fascinating, man.
Wow.
Fascinating how shit changes.
Like that guy who flew his plane into the IRS building.
Fascinating.
Unreal.
I recently just deleted a Facebook post because I get the memories, Facebook memories,
Yeah.
where I sympathized with that guy.
Fascinating, man.
Fucking 11 years ago or whatever, when I was a fucking crazy person. And so, yeah.
No, I think we've all
had a dark era, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've all
it's
had
really
a blue
fascinating.
period.
I think everybody goes. I mean, I think a lot of people who come out with a lot of wisdom, who have a lot of wisdom, go through this phase where they were off the rails. And then they're like, you kind of almost like when you like really lean into being like into a way of thinking that isn't your normal way of thinking, and then you just get too far into it, and you're like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? Like,
but you have to be able to wake
so much. You wake up and you get so much growth from it. You know what I mean? You get so much. You leave with so much wisdom, being like, when you like, I'm a different person, but I always was the person. I was like wandering through this morass of ignorance and blind knowledge, and now here I am on the other side of it, and like, wow, I really just I gained a lot of experience points. You know what I mean? Like, you just have a whole new sense of wisdom, right?
No, it was definitely a big wake up experience. I eventually was able to like.
Fascinating
to see that the predictions that were supposed to happen weren't coming true, and I was just like, wow,
man. And imagine how much you just grew up from that. Imagine how much wisdom you gained from that, how much experience that just shaped you to think differently from then on out. I remember I just remember when I was younger, as in like just in like my early and mid 20s, and when I first got into the medical school sort of doctory world, right? I started like looking back at my life prior, thinking, well, that was childish the way I was behaving. It's time to grow up, time to wear stupid clothes and change the way I think and settle down and just
the whole American dream thing.
Marry somebody who is who appears to be more mature and appreciates the superficial way of living, and do that. That's what you do, right? You settle down, you do this, and that's how you achieve what you're supposed to do in life, and like you put away childish things, right? And then like you just like I just remember going into it and just being like, this isn't how I look, this isn't how I want to feel, this person doesn't even like me. This whole world that I've been sold from movies and television about what I should be like looking for, even from like my parents and my family, it's so phony. And like I'm like, I have to live like this for the rest of my life till I die. Like, oh my God,
right? I want out.
I'm like, I want out. And like some people never learn that, and they just sort of trudge along, and they just push down all their feelings and say things like, and they just keep thinking about the best times of their life from when they were 21 forever, right? And they never see their friends anymore, and they never make anything anymore. And they think that's just the way it's supposed to be, and everybody's supposed to suffer. Like, you know what I mean? And then like,
that sucks.
And they never have the
right.
and I know that they're probably like looking out their window every once in a while, looking at that car, being like, man, I really wish I could get in that car and drive and do something I wanted to do, and wish I didn't own all this dumb shit I own, and like have all these
right.
dumb friends I have now that I only know through like, you know, my wife or through like occasionally through work.
Mixers.
I don't have any adventures anymore, you know what I mean? And like they realize it too late, and then they think it's too late, and like, well, it's too late. I'm not relevant anymore. I'm a little out of shape now. I don't know what's cool anymore. I don't know how to dress anymore. Guess that's it for me. And they say that at like the age 32. Like, I'm like, you fucking idiots! Like you're 32.
Jesus.
Like you could still leave. Like they think 32 is like it's all over. And I'm like, you're so stupid. Like you could just leave.
30s are the beginning, man.
30s are the best, man. Like I'm like so much cooler in my 30s.
Hey, actually, on that note, Tech, you quit your job not too long ago.
Yeah, that's
so
a big.
How
that's
has it been
man.
going since then, man? Like, do you ever go like, oh man, you know, like I kind of miss it, or is there any downside?
Yeah, sure. There's downside. For one, there's a. Well, for one, I made a lot more money when I had a job.
Yeah, true.
True. But no, the biggest drawback is probably that you're not getting as much like social interaction and literal physical.
Because you worked a lot of
moving
customer-facing jobs, huh?
Well, actually, I did, but my most recent job was in an office, and it was awesome. I really liked it. I just needed to quit because I needed to be able to focus more on Destiny and Shroud in order to like make things happen.
Right.
But yeah, it was just, I don't know, like it's just the there's something that literally like gets your like being going when you literally have to like get up and drive to work and like be at this place and talk to these people, and there's like expectations on you, versus just rolling out of bed, drinking some coffee and looking at Twitter and being like, should I start doing this, or I'll just watch YouTube for a little bit. It's hard to be your own boss. Have
you had to develop kind of like a little bit of a routine, or like
find
a way to like talk yourself into working, you know?
Yeah, well, having the deadlines of the mixtape club has really helped.
Tell me about it. I can't do a DJ set unless I have a deadline.
Talk about that, please. Talk about that mixtape club and how you guys even came. Wait, because that was like a crazy decision of you guys to be like, you know what?
Talk about the whole thing.
A new album constantly, and I remember when you guys announced it, I'm like, oh.
Why don't you brag a little bit?
Hard.
I think everybody here knows about it.
My thing is like, not only is it like you're doing a new album constantly, but now that means like when you release like the main album, like, oh my God, like what are you gonna? You're like,
right.
These are
better get Keith involved with this one.
These are the extra albums, and now like when you make the final big album, oh wow, God bless you guys. You are
y'all are
what
prolific.
made you guys decide to do all this? I'm like, releasing singles is hard enough for me.
I think it's just it was honestly because we felt frustrated by where we had kind of put ourselves. When in 2014 we released 11 DDS albums, and
true.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Then like James and Keith made I'll Try Living Like This, and then that album had like a certain level of following to it that we were like, okay, let's not release anything for a second. Let's take our time. We put out Classroom Sex Tape, which was actually finished before
That's you.
I'll Try Living Like This. Yeah.
That's all you, yeah.
And then a year after that, we released Heavy Black Heart, but it kind of became this thing where we realized that there was no going back to what we were doing before. These fun albums that we had put out originally, we had gotten way more complex since then, and we couldn't go back, and it was kind of a bummer, because
good point.
It would have just felt like a step back. It would have been like trying to take a bite of cheese pizza after you've already been eating pepperoni and sausage pizza.
Oh,
it's not
that's
gonna be
the
good.
ultimate
And so
challenge
you
for
were-
all artists, right?
Yeah, you can't. So
Like once you find your artistic voice with, like, here's the thing is like, yeah, I think that you're not alone in that. Like, I can't go back to making some of the stuff I made for my first EP ever again, because now I've like done things and I found my voice a little bit more. And like, it sure would be fun to go back and like just do like this random one-off thing, but like, what's that going to do to my, you know, people be like, well, this isn't as good, you know what I mean? Well, this is like a step backwards, right? You're like, it's like dangerous once you get a following and you actually discover your artistic voice, sort of like, it's a little bit like, it's a lot more pressure now, because now it's like, oh fuck, now it counts. Like, you know what I mean? Before it was me experimenting, now it counts. You know what I mean?
But it's kind of, it was kind of frustrating, because Heavy Black Heart.
I love that album, by the way. That's one of my favorite albums. That's the album when I have to introduce people to vaporwave. I usually so when I have people who are not even normies, but are like very erudite music people, right? But they're just not familiar with vaporwave, but maybe they know a lot about other experimental music or artists. I have those people listen to Heavy Black Heart to get an idea of the sort of sounds we have. No, I show this. That's what I show to more scholarly music listeners to get to introduce them into this world.
That is like, I feel like critically the album that keeps getting mentioned over and over as the most acclaimed.
Wait,
Heavy Black Heart? It should be.
I hear that about Heavy Black Heart more than anything.
But I want to get back to this mixtape thing too, though.
The point that I was trying to say was that basically those early albums were a very different sound and style than Heavy Black Heart, and so it was kind of like we wanted to be able to do those again without it feeling like we were taking a step back. So rather than when you have this like chronology of album releases, it was like, what if we just made like an alternate timeline?
Oh damn!
That's so smart.
The non-canon DDS.
Yeah. So it ends up being like
I like this.
Oh, that's so smart. Cool. Yeah, so that's brilliant.
My favorite thing about the way that this has turned out is that everybody seems to have understood this. So when James and I were first like working out this idea, we were like, but are people going to understand that we're trying to like, there's still going to be a real DDS album, but these are also real DDS albums, but they're also like alternative to the main.
They're the side quests. They're the side quests. They're the side quests.
They're the what is it? Smug Duck always
side quests.
They're the fanfic.
We called it a lateral expansion of the DDS universe.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's
Nation
great.
Just put lateral
expansion.
Which we burst out laughing. Every single, like, I think we showed Keith, and Keith just started dying laughing as soon as he saw it. But yeah, it's worked exactly
Smart.
Like
it's a good idea. So. Yeah, well, I think that the thing is, like, you can't really underestimate the vaporwave. A lot of vaporwave. I would say the majority of vaporwave fans, are relatively well versed in music and the way music works and how to listen to different types of music and how to put things in different boxes, right?
True.
Because of course there are some vaporwave people who are not, but a lot of vaporwave people aren't terribly. A lot of vaporwave people aren't casual listeners. They're like people who really have listened to a lot of other music first, and then eventually found themselves in vaporwave because they were already studying all other kinds of subculture music previously, right? And still do. You know what I mean? So like. And while of course there are some of the there's dumb people in every listenership, but I think a lot of vaporwave people they'll get it. You know what I mean? This is a weird genre with a lot. It's a weird genre with a lot of different sounds, and they'll get it because the other thing that's really different about this genre is how much interaction there is between people who listen to you and the people and the people who make music, right? You know what I mean? There's not much of a border, so they pick up what's being put down. I think so. It's great that they got that.
There's also a fantastic part of vaporwave. Honestly, probably my favorite thing about vaporwave is that it created I would not create it, but gave kind of a resurgence to the concept album. which had sort of died out over time and also become kind of corny maybe, or like kind of just like pretentious. And vaporwave sort of brought that back into the fold in a huge way, and it's great because it's like a whole like younger generation of recording artists who are like super into conceptual albums.
It's pretty sick, man.
I don't know how people make
I don't care what they
albums
say.
that
The
aren't
kids are
conceptual
okay.
albums. Like, I don't know. Yeah, the kids are all right.
The kids are
I don't know.
okay.
I wouldn't even know how to make an album that I wouldn't think is just a collection of songs. Like, I couldn't even do it. Like, I don't even know how people are. Like, I would be so angry. I'd be like, this is just a collection of nothing. It has to mean something more. It has to be something else coming out.
That's so funny
it has to have at least an emotional theme to it, or a mental, or a psychological, you know, like some sort of philosophic theme to it. And in addition to like a whole like this is a bigger world sort of thing, and like vaporwave is really, you're right, it's brought back the concept album in a big way, right? It's not just a collection of singles, and I think it brought back the concept album in a big way because like previous to that you did have like a lot of like fucking like Fratelli's-ish type indie rock before it, which was just like a collection of singles and
shit. It was always
Interpol. Let's not cast aspersions on Interpol, please. You know,
I'm not trying to cast aspersions.
Let's pick a different band.
All right. Hey, somebody in the chat said that
the Fratellis.
Somebody in the chat said that the
I don't even actually know who the Fratellis are, but they sound like a band that does iPhone commercials. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know who the Fratellis are. Like, it just sounds like that would be the name of the band that makes iPhone single commercials on television. I don't fucking know.
Wait,
I don't know who they are.
Wait, what? Young
All right,
Shiro,
look, leave me alone. Somebody in the chat said that somebody compared. Somebody said that the Mixtape Club was antithetical to vaporwave. Do you care to comment on that?
Oh, I do remember someone saying that. That was so silly.
Yeah,
that person
someone
was,
did
I think,
say that.
trying to get attention. I think.
Wait, somebody in the chat.
Maybe I confused the Fratellis for a different band. Jesus, guys.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Let's keep talking about the Fratellis, guys. That's what
I really want to hear about the Mixtape Club being antithetical to vaporwave.
This did happen. Somebody did complain about it.
I remember that.
On what's that? Rate Your Music. It
was on Rate Your Music.
Every time a new mixtape would come out, every time a new DDS mixtape would come out, there would be somebody in there that would just be like, "Ugh, this is such bullshit." And I think that.
Because they didn't want to pay for the Mixtape Club fee.
Right. The thing that's bullshit or whatever. Yeah, was simply this, that you didn't want to give the artist money. But the fact of the matter is that like there are, and this is what I always go back to. There are 15 Death's Dynamic Shroud album that you can listen to and pay what you want for right now, and they'll always be there for you to pay what you want and listen to. Not to mention a fucking catalog of like 50-something other Ghost Diamond albums. All pay what you want. So if you want to go listen, if you want your music for free, then listen to one of those albums. But if you want to hear these albums, then just fucking pay the money to listen to them. Because I'm giving you a whole lot of stuff for free right here. This is okay.
What is the Mixtape Club cost?
$7.
$7?
You can pay $7 right now and get
super reasonable.
and you get 6 DDS albums that you've never got before. And then you can cancel.
I've never paid that little for an album. Jesus.
But you still get them.
World of Equip says vaporwave feels so personal to so many people. There's a certain sense of entitlement behind a small sect of the community.
Small keyword.
I guess so. Yeah,
and it
small.
Is small.
Small is the keyword.
Most of us love each other.
You know,
and want to donate.
what I thought when you guys started in the Mixtape Club, I'm like, well, that is a brilliant way to give people something that are giving you something and helping you guys. You know what I mean? This is working 100%. To me, that was like a community working together to help each other. You give them some art, you're going to give them a little bit of money. They can keep making the art. We have to operate this way. It's like there's no other choice. You know what I mean? But it's like this wasn't like y'all heavily marketing it to people and like fucking spamming their email to buy this or that, or like, you know, like there's like billboards outside forcing people, or like are forced to. This is like a community helping each other. I think that's even what I said under your post when you said that. I'm like, this is just a community helping each other.
Literally, it's like exactly what vaporwave should be.
I've never seen so many pay what you want in any other scene ever.
Well, because others see they don't care. Like the other people, like their fans are just faceless to them. You know what I mean? They're just people. They don't. They say, "I love my fans. My fans are the best." Peace to my fans. Love them so much. And they're like, they don't. They're just like they're just saying that, man.
I think James
actually
and I
do, but like not the same way we do.
James and I had a hard time though with coming up with a subscription model at first because we were kind of like not keen on the idea just because it's. I think a lot of subscription models don't offer what I would find to be enough. Let me rephrase that. I think a lot of people, a lot of fans are willing to put money towards a subscription to help the artist more even than getting something in return for it. I think that people are more willing to just, I'll support you for $5 a month or whatever. And you get a thing or two here and there or whatever, but it's nothing too special. But they have the satisfaction knowing they're helping you. But I think I know personally that I am not that kind of person. I think that Gen Z is an amazing generation when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I don't think millennials are quite as keen on supporting their peers, myself included. And so, to me, coming up with, if I'm going to have a subscription for people to pay me for content, I want to make sure that it's something that I would want to put my money towards. And since I am even more discerning with my money than, say, the average Gen Z person, it's got to be something good. And so when we were like, what if it was literally a new album every single month? I know that's crazy, but what if we did that?
It is crazy.
I want to get to that now, even specifically. Like that was like, that's like such a crazy decision to make. You're like, all right, here we go. Like you put the hands in, like an album every month.
I think that vaporwave has. If we were trying to make original compositions, I feel like I don't know that we would be able to. We could do it for a minute, but I think after a few months we would be having a really, really hard time keeping up with that workload. But I don't think. I think vaporwave, because of its sample-based nature, it's a little less intensive to create with, and it allows, with James and I both, we can take turns.
That's true.
So technically, you're getting 2 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I see what you're saying.
You guys alternate months.
So we do.
You guys alternate months. That's smart.
Not to get nosy, but
no. That's we're open about it. So, yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of it works. It's a lot of effort. Honestly, the part that's the trickiest is some of the things that we have to do are we write for the highest tier club members. We send out voicemails, which are just minute-long emails where we literally record ourselves leaving a voicemail for them. It's sort of just we wanted to include something that captured
That's cool.
It's we have DDS has a sense of humor about ourselves. We know our music is really serious and somber, but we ourselves are very goofy people, and so the voicemails allow for that. And we also send out postcards to those club members. Aww. We sign their tapes, which means that the tapes have to go from James to me to sign and package again.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of a lot of moving parts. It
is.
The labor is more intensive, maybe, than the actual creation of the albums.
It is amazing how, we are all our own cottage industries these days. Do you know what I mean? That's crazy. That was it used to be back in the day that you would just be like, I hope I can get on one of those big indie rock labels, or maybe, maybe someone somehow, or even back in the day. Oh God, yeah. I mean, I think I remember back in the very early days of vaporwave,
fucking Mexican
before
summer.
We really, that was the thing. Before we even had, and also you would know about this. You were in lots of bands before you started making vapor. You've been playing music since you were 14. Do you remember back in the day, you would record a demo and then you'd be like, oh boy, I really hope, Jaguar. Maybe I heard them who's the record label that released Teen Girl Fantasy? Maybe they'll release me. And then you're it's me and the fucking 100,000 other kids behind me who are trying to who make weird music. They're also trying to get on there, and there's like no slots left anymore because they already signed all the Chillwave acts. They already did that. They're like, sorry, we got something that sounds kind of similar to what you're doing. No room for you. We can only have like 15 artists on this label. And you're just like, fuck. But now you have like a whole cottage industry where you can like reach out to fans, build your audience, market your own material, have subscription models. You know what I mean? Like sign your own records to send to people, produce postcards, like everything. The means of production is there for people now, and like
it's even
no shit. Love it.
You have to be I can't just be a musician in 2021. I have to be a recording artist. I have to be my own like little shipping.
You have to be everything. You have to be your own cottage industry.
A streamer. I have a show. I have to be on Twitter.
You have two shows.
Discord. There's all this like.
Yeah,
it's like
you are your own industry. Yeah, like I said, you are your own cottage industry now. You do everything now, right?
It's wild, yeah.
And you know what's really funny, Tech? Do you ever like talk to your friends who like still have a traditional band and don't really have like are like maybe in their 30s and a little bit out of touch with how to do things now? And like, do you ever like talk to these people? Like, I have a few friends like that, and they're like, "Yeah, I just recorded my 4-track demo. We just finished it. Went to a studio and recorded it. You know, with my band, with my drummer and guitarist." Just recorded it. Took us like 8 months to record this album and then get it mastered by a guy in a studio. And like they did all this work. And then I'm like, well, what are you doing now? It's like, well, now we're gonna like hire a promoter or something. And I'm like, do you even know what that promoter is going to do for you? And they're like, well, then maybe they'll get us on a Spotify list. I'm like, do you know how much work that takes to even get recognized by those people? Like, I'm like, do you have any social media presence? And they're like, well, I'm like on any of them? Like, you know, just pick one. But like, do you have any social media presence? And like, how are you going to release this album? I'm like, well, we don't. I'm like, you're gonna have to reach out to like a Bandcamp that releases other things that are similar. Like, I felt like I was speaking Martian to this person. They're like, oh, they got like exhausted when I explained to them how you have to operate in the current climate of music, right? And they're just like, whoa,
what kind of music
I don't
do
know. They're like my friend Jackie. She makes like it's like sounds like Slater Kinney style music. It's very good, but it's like it's also like, you know, it's not exactly like rock and roll is not where excitement happens anymore. Right, rock and roll. Okay, so here's the thing: like hot take, like rock and roll's relevancy, all rock music in general's relevancy as like the form of rebellion music is gone. Like that's not what rock music is about anymore. No one grabs a guitar and starts like playing rock music, and it's like people are like, that's where the rebellion's happening. It's not. Like rock music is great; it's still fun. There'll always be a place for it. But people look to other things for like rebellion now. People look to other things as the epicenter of true excitement. If you want to be a successful band that uses guitars today, you kind of have to be like a warm hug. Like, you know what I mean? You have to be something like, I don't know, Beach Bunny, which is fantastic. One of my favorite bands out there right now. But Beach Bunny's music is like a friend. It's like a warm feeling. It's certainly, I'm certainly not going to see their concerts because like this is where the revolution's happening. You know what I mean? Like that's just like, that's not happening anymore. Like, rock music now is like you got to be like a warm friend and nostalgic, but no one's like, it's definitely not the same as in 1999, the first time I saw like New Noise by Refused. You know what I mean?
Oh shit, I love that album.
Like that's not going to happen again in this in 2000.
It's over,
but back in '99, it's like it's like you know there'll always be a place for rock music, but like so that's like my friend, like you know my friend does like Slater Kinney music, and that's like,
ever since the Fratelli's
you gotta work a little bit harder.
Album,
you know what? That's where all the rebellion's at now. It's the Fratellis. I forgot about them. You're right. Rock music is saved. The Fratellis are around. Perfect. Great. They'll be leading the charge with a goddamn red sashes around their foreheads. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm a warrior.
I pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry.
I think rock music is I feel like maybe
no, god damn it, Isaac. New Noise is not the first fucking Refused album. Please,
I didn't say that.
Did you just say that?
No.
In the thing? Wait, is New Noise the first Refused album?
No, New Noise is the single from that one album. Refused are fucking dead, or whatever it's called.
No, that's another single. The album is called The Shape of Punk to Come, and it's also not the first Refused album.
It's
right?
not.
You know.
No.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, Tech, what do you have to talk about?
No, I was just gonna say that
and rip Isaac a new one today.
What level? Like at what point does music like become like does it need to be like rebellious force.
No, it just becomes that. You know what I mean? Because
I mean,
every
we listen to
revolution has a
smooth
soundtrack.
jazz, and it's not rebellious.
I think,
well, is it? I don't
It doesn't
But I
have
think-
to be.
I
It
think
just
vaporwave-
turns out to be that.
I think vaporwave unintentionally was so because of its.
I still think it is.
Laissez-faire attitude about sampling.
True.
It still is. I just mean is like that's where the excitement.
Yeah, it was a rebellion against like what was originally happening. But yeah, no, I'm not. I was talking not necessarily like piggy.
Yeah, you know what? When I say when I say rebellion, I don't mean like turning over, you know, like burning down things and stuff. I mean like as in like a cultural rebellion, like as in like this is the new way of thinking. This is the new way of like believing things, the new way of acting, behaving. This is our new set of mores, etc. Do you know what I mean? And like usually there's always a soundtrack, and there's a soundtrack that always goes along with that, right? A soundtrack comes along with that.
I feel like we would be approaching some type of endpoint with that. And I say this because like I think that like throughout history I feel like we have certain art movements. So you have like at one point people could be completely taken aback by a painting in a way that would be like absolutely offend their senses. Like, I can't believe that you would paint this. But there is nothing that you can paint now that could culturally shift, or that shift the cultural tides, as that like form of art is has been relegated to like what it has. I feel like music would be eventually making its way down that path, because music, like it continually like has had those moments, like these like cultural shift moments, but it feels like at some point, I don't know how soon, but it feels like at some point music will become wallpaper-ish enough and culturally just like, I mean, every single person in the vaporwave scene makes music. Everyone makes music now. It's so anyone can do it. So it's sort of when like something is democratized to that level, it sort of becomes not as I don't know. It just becomes like milquetoast at a certain point.
So it's like in the 1920s, right? You had the jazz age, yes? Like jazz was the soundtrack of the rebellion, of the movement of a different way of thinking. You know, that's what the flappers were dancing to. But once rock and roll comes along, jazz is no longer going to be the epicenter of rebellion, right? It's going to be that warm friend that you go see at the it's not. Well, I don't even want to say old people music, because there will still be, you know, you could say that, but you could also say that there'll still be new jazz music that people will like, and will still will still be popular. But in the same way, like, because I don't want to call rock old people music. I just want to say that it won't be the spot where the world changes that. You know, the world won't pivot with rock and roll as the soundtrack. You know what I mean? Whereas the world wouldn't pivot with jazz as the soundtrack when rock and roll happens, right? And I think that the thing is, like, I agree with what Tech's saying, is like, well, it is becoming really democratized right now, and it just gets you to the point of like, what's going on next? Like, where are we going to pivot next after this is over? Like, what instruments are left? You know what I mean? Like, we're producing music now. We're making noises that no one's ever heard before. Like, that's like a thing. And it's like, well, what are we going to move to next? Like, you know what I mean?
So you need,
but like, you can't really go back to the old instruments. Once you have the new instruments, once you have the electric guitar, it's really like hard to go back to jazz. Like,
but you have to have some sort of level of accessibility to what you're
fire
making.
Tools are great.
In order for you to have in order for your message to get out. So like I mean, you can have these like really niche moments like with like noise and vaporwave even. But like if you want like a cultural shift, you would need something on like a much wider level. So it can't be too abstract. It can't be too weird. Because then it won't get enough people listening to it.
Well, like the rock stars,
it's got to be reeled in enough in order to be able to like to have a message that people will like stick with or whatever. So I don't. It's kind of a weird. It's almost like a self-defeating. Like it can't be too outlandish at this point. Like cultural
it's
homogeny. I don't know.
It's hard.
You're right, because then it won't appeal to like.
So I want to Okay, so here's what I would see vaporwave. I say it's like punk, right? And I say it's like punk because in the same way punk was a little bit of an answer to like stadium rock and roll. I would say vaporwave is an answer to stadium EDM music, right? You know what I mean?
No
like
shit.
that is where the rock stars are now, right? If you go to the EDM festivals, like if you see Illenium and and how Illenium performs and the visuals and the laser lights and the kids and their neon bikinis, they're really fun. I recommend everyone go to them. That's where the rock stars are. That's where the kids are going crazy. That's where Gen Z is, right? That's their soundtrack. And like, I have no idea where music's going to go ever, because if you had told me 20 years ago that like American dubstep was going to be what the pretty girls were dancing to, I would have been like, no way. Like, what are you talking about with the robot frog noises? Like, that's what I'm like. When I heard the robot frog noises, I was like, this is cool, but I'm pretty sure this is the soundtrack for kids playing, for boys playing video games in the basement. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that the girls are going to get into this too. They certainly do. They love it. They go crazy. And I never would have thought dubstep would be the thing. You know what I mean?
So yeah. So no, I agree, because I wouldn't have predicted that either. But at the end of the day, there is still like a beat, a pulse to that.
There is. There's a rhythm, right? There's a rhythm.
The thing I thought was funny about vaporwave was that it came up through like the circles with which it came up through the internet were through like experimental music realms,
True.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So like tiny
experimental electronic
mixtapes
music,
and those, And what was funny was that there's been I'd been reading tiny mixtapes for a bajillion years, and I'm very aware of like what was happening in like the cassette underground, and like with like retro futurist synth revival music and abstract noise and whatever. But that stuff was too unpalatable for to have any kind of like larger level of cultural shift success. But vaporwave is literally just pre-built. It's ready-made music that is already sonically palatable. In fact, it's made out of music that was supposed to be the most sonically palatable music.
Right,
made out of music that's sonically palatable.
Jazz.
Very good point.
You see all these young kids who kind of into not electronic music, but like experimental music or whatever, and they latch on to vaporwave real hard. And it's no surprise, because it simply is the most accessible kind of music from that little world. It's not a surprise to me that vaporwave is more popular than retro futurist synthesizer music. Even though
that's like pastiche.
There's actually a lot of overlap
I think
between
that
like
because
the
like
Monster Cat and the retro futurism thing. It's super weird.
Monster Cat.
EDM is actually going synthwave. It's
well,
really
I mean, like there's crossover, because there are acts like what's it called, Cashmere Cat, right, or Toki Monster, or Flume, which straddle these lines between which are thinking man's sort of
Flume,
like
DDS fan. Flume put
Flume's
DDS
amazing.
He put his
what? No way.
Song on
Which one?
Unbelievable. That guy is awesome.
Somebody told us,
man.
and James and I were just like, wait, who's Flume?
No, wait, isn't that the guy that ate ass on stage? I think that was Flume.
Oh wow, is that?
What are you talking about?
I'm about to Google
there was a guy. There was a guy who ate ass on stage. Yeah.
I don't think it was
sure
Flume. All right. Well, all right. I don't know, man. I don't keep up these things, but I do really enjoy Flume, and I really enjoy all the other bands I met, all the other artists. Oh, there you go, man. Well, okay. Val, he's pretty cool music, and
he has my vote.
I do like Flume a lot. That last mixtape he did, which has like Sophie on it and everything, is fantastic. The Hi, This is Flume, or whatever it's called. It's really good.
Flume is from Australia.
Yeah, last mixtape was fucking incredible. I agree, Imran. Anyway, what were we talking about? What were we talking about again?
No, I was just rambling about how I think vaporwave succeeded because it's accessible. Versus,
it's interesting.
But so when you need a cultural shift or something, it needs to be something that's palatable to people to a certain degree. I think.
I think so
too. I feel like it's getting to a point where there will continue to be like new shifts and that kind of stuff, but it does feel like music is sort of becoming sort of like I don't know, like I don't know. Never mind. That take doesn't make any sense. I changed my mind. That's something I would type and then maybe save it to
backspace.
Yeah.
Save it for Dino Hour.
Save it for Dino Hour.
I have a question for you, man. Do you think there's any such thing as objectively bad art?
No, it's a good question.
If there is, I want some examples.
So okay. Here's my take. This is the official Tech Honors take on objective and subjective art. Okay. I have talked about this on Gaia before.
Oh no, he's roboting.
Am I? Wait.
No. I hear you fine. Okay, you're back. It's like, don't do it during the hot take.
So, first off, there is no such thing as objective anything.
Holy
so if it comes to art, there's no such there's simply cannot be. There's no such thing as objective good or objective bad art. That said, what I like to like think exists is a conversation, if you will, that can exist between all people, a critical conversation that we can call it an objective criticism. It's not. At its core, it is still going to be made up of millions of people's subjective tastes. But when you look at like publications that review music over the 20th century or whatever, there are certain generally agreed upon rules, if you will, to establish what makes something good or bad. And so there are some rules that are like maybe people are more keen to follow than others, like don't make your song 7 hours long. Maybe only make it between 2 minutes and 9 minutes or something. You know what I mean? But there's also rules that are like being bombastic or over the top is self-indulgent and therefore not tasteful, and therefore objectively in this like objective bubble.
And it's just like a universally agreed upon.
It's just yeah. Now there are people that are going to disagree. So Pitchfork may hate Muse, the band Muse, and I like the band Muse. Are they self-indulgent? Sure. Are they tasteless sometimes? Absolutely. Is that, in my opinion, part of what their whole mission statement is as an artist? Yes. And so then I would have a rebuttal in that academic critical conversation of objective quality. So when you're arguing with those rules, then you're kind of like you're working within this like faux objective reality, but you're at the end of the day it is all technically subjective. But that's why, so if you're talking about in this objective bubble, is there objectively bad art?
That's a really good way of putting it, is that every one of these things has its own sphere or bubble, and then like these rules crop up within each sphere, and sometimes these spheres don't overlap. So you walk into one sphere, and that sphere is the harsh noise sphere, and the harsh noise sphere has different rules that are like kind of like bouncing around that make that more people are just tending to sort of gravitate towards, that makes the artist more popular. And then you walk into like the house music like bubble, and that one has its own set of like rules that are bouncing around in there that seem to be attracting more people to follow, right? Like,
and what you're saying is exactly. So I use another thing that I refer to as the dog show metaphor.
Oh, go on,
tell us about the dog show metaphor, please.
Let's talk about the dog show metaphor.
The dog show metaphor is that in a dog show.
Go on. You got my attention.
You got dachshunds, you got Great Danes, you got got pit bulls, you got whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're not going. It does not make sense to criticize the dachshund for being not as big as the Great Dane. It doesn't make sense. Dachshunds are not supposed to be the size of Great Danes. They're supposed to be a certain type of way. They're judged on its dachshundness.
Wait, EXE2MP3 said, "Hope there's no donkey show metaphor." Go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
EXE2MP3 shit on my pizza metaphor earlier, so I don't want
He also really pulled a long con on you guys. His whole thing was a joke on what Chris said earlier. Scroll up.
Oh.
When we were shitting on him for saying that was the first Refused album, it was a joke on what you said about Radiohead.
Oh.
But anyways,
that's funny. I didn't know that.
Good.
Oh, that's funny. I'm so stupid. Now I get the joke now. I'm an idiot. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Those Australians,
I'm so
man,
dumb.
they're 5D
that was
chess.
really funny. That's a really funny joke. That's a good callback.
Dog show metaphor. You're not criticizing the Dachshund for not being as big as the Great Dane. You're not criticizing the Great Dane for being too tall and lanky. Like, look at this bulldog. It's not tall and lanky. So
look at that Jewish bulldog. It's not even tall.
You're judging it on its merits as that breed. So in that sense, it doesn't make sense to me to review a Katy Perry album under the same lens as you would review an Autechre album. And so it's why I get a little bit irritated with like Poptimism and like Pitchfork celebrating mainstream pop music.
I hate when they do that shit. I hate that.
They over intellectualize it, and
I hate that.
What it's resulted in
so much.
But so you could, so somebody could argue, well, why wouldn't you be able to academically review an Ariana Grande album? And you can. But the thing is, I think that it's totally fine to say that. Again, this is being fluid about the way that we approach the world. It's totally fine to say that, yes, an Ariana Grande album is art, but also it is entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say that all art is entertainment and that maybe all entertainment is art, but I think that there is an important distinction to make at a certain level.
Yes.
Lest you end up with Coachella lineups that are full of absolute dog trash.
Yes.
Because at one point it wasn't.
Oh, man.
You know, at some point, if you review these, if you like take these pop albums that are fine, they are fine, they are well written, they are well constructed. If you start conflating them to mean more than they really do, like enjoy the fucking world you create. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna squeeze out all the people who are actually, man, I'm trying to say this as delicately as I can, you know, that are really like putting in the work to like delve into the deepest sections of their minds to challenge you a lot, you know what I mean, to really just challenge, like when I make music, I'm sure we do as well, like I'm trying to think of a way to challenge people in different ways. Oh, are we okay? I see it's the thing spinning. I'm trying to think of what you're trying to think of ways to challenge people, to make them think differently, to do it in a way that's accessible enough but still experimental. Like you're working hard, and the other people, and like so when you start using, like start thinking about these pop albums the way that the people might think about that, like enjoy the world that you create, because you're gonna like see the emperor's wearing no clothes, and like you made this whole big intellectual statement and threw your support behind these big pop stars, and now that's all you're left with, and you're gonna be like, fuck, the world's boring. You know what I mean? Am I wrong?
That's exactly what's happening, and that's why
I hate that shit, man.
It got me very frustrated because I did go through a period of time, like in the early 2010s, where I was kind of doing the Poptimist thing because I was really excited by a lot of what was happening with like artists that were taking sort of interesting risks, like mainstream artists that were taking sort of interesting sonic risks.
But then at the end of the day, it's like it's like a sonic risk for like it's barely a risk at the end of the day.
It's the most calculated shit ever.
It's a calculated risk too. It's like they'll get a kick out of this. They'll call me genius. Click.
It's a focus group concept. Yeah, they're just like
fuck you, fuck them. Not you, but fuck you. With these people, like, whoa, this will be a risk. Now it's like, oh look, it's a little dark when I make the bass like this ever so gently, and people will say I'm a genius and taking witch house cues or some fucking shit. Is that what they were saying about like what's her name, like Taylor Swift? I haven't listened to that new album, but like aren't they like saying shit like that right now? Like, oh, she's doing risks. I'm like, fuck you. It's calculated. It knows exactly what they're doing. There's a whole team. There's a team of people with millions of dollars behind that person.
Ghostwriters behind
that is not an artistic statement. That is the statement of like hundreds of people, because there are barely any successful artists anymore, right? That are mainstream. mainstream, like as it's all being spread out. So like believe that those major labels are putting millions of dollars in research behind what they want you to think is genious. Fuck that. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I'm losing my cool right now.
It's very frustrating. It's just been frustrating to kind of watch as like independent journalism and has gone.
I hate that shit, man. I saw that too, man. It's because they're losing their momentum. I remember when that was happening. When I saw that happening, I was like, they are losing their footing, right? They have to bring in new fans. They have to bring in new readers, and like you got to appeal to like whoever's left that might fucking read blogs, right? And like I could feel it happening when they started over intellectualizing that bullshit and making dumb fucking albums in like the top 10. And didn't fool me. Fuck you.
Tech, Nathan really wants you to talk about the Heaven computer. I happen to remember the Heaven computer.
The Heaven computer. The Heaven computer is an idea that James and I have often talked about, which is that when you die and you go to heaven, the Heaven computer. Heaven is just a room. The floor is made of marshmallows, but that doesn't have anything to do with anything.
I like it though. It adds a little texture to your description of what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. And so there's a computer, and the Heaven computer basically just holds all the data you could ever want to know about your existence, your life, like personal data that could not be cataloged on like Wikipedia or something. So like if you want to know how many times you blinked, or if you want to know how many times you blinked between June 1st, 1991 and June 3rd, 1993, it could tell you exactly that. And then, but more interestingly, it can tell you it can objectively tell you, because it's heaven, so it's God. He's telling
God.
You. It can objectively tell you your subjective favorite things. So,
fun.
It says, so you're like,
weird, man.
How much? What is my 96,221st favorite thing? And then it's like, you type it in, and it's like double stuffed Oreos. And you're like,
it has it listed. It has it listed.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and then you're like. Wait, is it really? And then you look at one thing underneath it, and it's like, I don't know, Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, I kind of like it a little more.
You're like, I would prefer the double stuffed Oreo to that. I still,
but only by a slim margin.
Oh, just a little margin.
Yeah, a slim margin.
And then you look right above it,
This
and
is great.
It's like the letter P, and you're like, I guess I do like the letter P. Just
my god, the letter
that's
P.
Taking me back
I love
to
the way P
that
sounds, and I love how it can be silent occasionally.
Where we decided the best letters in the alphabet.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So that's the idea of the Heaven computer.
That's really so fun. What a fun idea.
Do you want to tell me what you have against Salsaghetti, by the way, since we're almost out of time?
What's Salsaghetti?
Salsaghetti is an
Just like
abomination.
the best Mexican candy.
What are we talking about?
It's Mexican candy. I bought it once upon a time because I only had 30 cents, and that's how much it cost, and I couldn't afford any of the real candy.
Real candy?
This doesn't even count as real candy. It's how bad this is apparently.
So wrong.
It is. I have to try this.
It's defined as hot watermelon straws with tamarind sauce. Which doesn't sound like candy. Also, just real quick, it's called Salsaghetti, which is like salsa and spaghetti. Which
I gotta try.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know why that's. I don't know why that's combined, or why that would be a candy.
Squinkles,
but anyway,
Salsaghetti.
It's very like uncomfortable to say. It's a very clunky word.
It is.
Someone in the chat won't even eat it.
Like portmanteau.
I opened it up. It's a bunch of sweaty pink, like sour straw things, but they're not sour. It has literal black pepper on it. Yeah, it's like Sour Punch straws, all folded together in this like intestinal mass, and it's covered in black pepper. And then underneath it,
it's covered in black leather, is what you said.
Black pepper.
Oh, black pepper. Okay.
And underneath the Salsaghetti is a packet of tamarind sauce, which doesn't taste good. And then you tear it open and you squeeze it on it, and then it looks like it's like this like dark red on top of pink mass.
Aesthetically displeasing as well.
horrendously so.
It's like it's sweating and quivering as you pour this on top of it.
I am curious though, why are you such a fan of this?
Oh, I fucking love it, dude.
I have to eat this.
Umami.
I can't wait to try this.
It's spicy.
Really?
It's kind of salt. It's salty. It's tangy. It's got everything. It's even got a little bit of sweetness. It's got the whole flavor palette.
It's got everything.
You're missing out, dog.
It's got everything, according to Isaac.
I just want sweetness in my.
All right, so
candy.
what's sweetness in? Did you say mint?
I just want sweetness in my candy.
Oh, I don't know why I heard mint.
I don't know either.
I gotta try this.
Hey, it's okay.
Umami.
Nothing is objective, so I can't even be mad.
That's what I always say.
Nothing is objective. I can't be mad.
That's what I always default to. Hey, don't get mad at me. There's no such thing as truth.
Yeah, maybe
Lucas is trash though.
Maybe you need to move that Salsaghetti out of the sphere of candy and into a different one and hold it by some different rules. Maybe there's other Salsaghetti style things out there, and it should be held against that. That rubric.
That's true. I should only be comparing it to other.
You shouldn't be comparing it to candy at all. Maybe wrong candies. It's like comparing chocolate to a fruit snack.
That's true. That's a great point. And that's why the dog show metaphor holds up.
That's why the dog show metaphor holds up.
I'm stealing that one, man.
I gotta try this now, though. I'm very fascinated. I don't even know where I'm gonna get it. I don't know where I'm gonna get it. Like I don't think we have it in New Jersey.
They gotta have it in yeah.
Go to
what kind
like
of so this is this okay? So it's a Hispanic food. Like okay. I'll try and find it. It's called Salsaghetti,
There's no
right?
cinnamon in it, Lux. It's
just.
I'll try and order it. Maybe I can order it online.
Just for a little bit of context, though, I was in Ohio. I had never been really outside of Ohio, and I went to a Walgreens and found it. So I had no context of Mexican candy or any kind of culture. I was just some dumb white Midwestern boy. So yeah. Now if I saw it, I would probably be like, okay, different.
Do you like Birdie Bot's jelly beans? Do you eat those?
The what? The what jelly beans?
Birdie Bot's jelly beans that have the fucking weird flavors like dirt and boogers. You never heard of those?
What?
There's a grass flavored one.
I've seen there's kids that play a game where you eat the jelly bean and you hope you don't get the grotesque one.
The vomit one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really understand that kind of game. I've never been kind of.
I feel like that would be your worst.
I dated a girl one time who had a kid and she brought them over one time as a joke. So it's well, we could do this if we're bored, and I'm like, no, that's all right. Why don't we just go dance? I don't want to do this.
I don't quite understand that.
Bean Boozled, that's what it's called.
Do you guys wanna wrap this up, or do you guys want to go a little long?
Well, I don't know. You have anything more to talk about? We can keep talking a little bit longer.
We usually end the episode with shout outs, so I'll leave that.
Tech doesn't have to work or anything, right? So
I don't have to work. My throat is dying, though. I will say.
Oh yeah. All right, so why don't we wrap it up then soon?
So what we like to do, Tech, at the end of every episode is we usually like to give the guest the moment to just say whatever they want, shout out anything, anyone, say whatever you want, and then we take turns doing that. So anything you want to say.
Yeah, or anything you want to promote or whatever.
Anything at all.
I just want to thank myself,
We're doing just such a great job, and
I'm just really proud
for making it for 4 hours on.
I would thank myself too if I was just did 4 hours of talking. So yes, that's I'm not even kidding now.
No, I would say shout out to Blashy and B. Blashy sent me that.
Blashy and B are the homies.
Awesome.
Love that guy.
B sent me a PP.
Oh, PP.
A PP.
Are
we gonna get to see Chicken at all? By the way, not to cut into your.
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I don't mean to cut into your shout out.
Over there.
Yeah, Michaela, can you pitch him the chicken?
Said she doesn't know where chicken is. Chicken's probably filing taxes or something. That's what he does. But anyway, yeah. I just wanted to give shout outs to them, and if you see people on Twitter being mega fucking shitlord, edgelord, douchebag pieces of shit, especially within the vaporwave community, just don't engage them at all. They're trash. and they don't matter, and it will fade away if you just don't give them the fucking time. There is a lot of that happening right now by a very small amount of people who just really are so insignificant, and it doesn't, they don't matter. Stop paying attention to them for any reason. Don't dunk on them. Don't reply to them. Don't engage in any meaningful way. It's absolute dog water, dog trash. You don't need to be anywhere near it. And so that's
water.
Hell yeah, doggy.
People just need to learn to keep scrolling, says Christ. Nailed it.
Yes.
Keep scrolling.
Just keep scrolling. Yeah. That would
Well
be
said.
yeah, that's a...
Do you have anything you want to promote?
Yeah. Join the DDS Discord.
join the Death
Join the
Dynamic
fan
Shroud.
club. $7.
The Mixed Club.
Super
If you
reasonable.
just don't want the tapes, you can get the albums for $7. It's $7 a month. If you want the tapes, it's $15. If you want the tapes and a bunch of other stuff, it's $25. But I'm just saying, $7 is what you would probably pay for an album anyway. If you were going to buy one, they're good albums. It's more DDS albums. The Discord community, I cannot stress this enough, is absolutely unbelievable and extremely active. Everyone is super nice. There's
Nice.
no like toxicity there. I have been on Twitter significantly less because of how incredible the Discord is. Honestly, the Discord is worth the $7 price of admission. But yeah, I strongly recommend it if you're interested in Death Dynamic Shroud. And really,
Monica, thank you for the link.
yeah, thank you for the link. It's $7 if you wanted to join and you don't like it. You instantly get all 15 of our available albums plus the 6 more that we've had since we created the fan club. So and then you would have those forever. So even if you only paid $7, you would get a shit ton of music. Anyway, yeah. That's pretty much all I have to promote, I think. Oh, and then welcome to Dino Hour. I stream on 100% Electronica Monday nights at 8 until 10 on a show called Welcome to Dino Hour, where we just talk, and we believe in ourselves.
We do indeed.
Cool.
I've been a fan for quite some time. Thank you again for rating us, bro.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
do it every
Always-
single time.
always-
Thank you again.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Okay, Isaac, do you have stuff to promote?
Yeah, my DJ set that I did for Space Jams. A guy, his name is Jack. He does a lot of stuff for the synthwave scene out in Great Britain. I just did a 1-hour lo-fi house DJ set with Space Jams. It is up on SoundCloud. It's got, last I checked, like 600-700 plays. It's good stuff. Some of the best mixing I've ever done. If you like lo-fi house, if you like Ross from Friends, DJ Seinfeld,
Nice.
DJ Sabrina the Teenage DJ, you need to check it out.
All 3 of them. One's from Friends, one's Seinfeld, and one is Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Tech, do you not listen to Lo-Fi House?
That's like a lo-fi house thing, man. That's like a thing, yeah.
I didn't know.
Isaac, do you want to put a link in the chat?
I will drop a link, and while
Nice.
I'm talking about that, I will just mention I have a I'm not sure if these things are announced, man. So there's an event coming up. We talked about it last week. Be Careful is organizing the next Homesick
It's
Fest.
announced. You're talking.
It's announced.
Yeah, that's announced.
Yes, you're taking part in it as well. I sent my Witch House set off to Ming Curry already. I'm very proud of it. Lux has heard it. She liked it a lot. I sent you the link.
Yes.
Let me know what you think when you hear it. I'm pretty proud of it. That's coming in June. We have another event that is not officially announced, but it's going to be a big one coming up in May. It's going to be a oh, Monica, thank you. Monica posted it before I even could. My rig
Thanks,
rig
Monica.
is not as old
Thank
as
you.
yours is, Tech, but it is pretty slow. Finally, this event coming up in May is going to be a event that is going to span the globe. It is going to be a partnership between at least 4 different collectives, including Rosewood, which is the collective that I'm in with Nathan, Will, EXE to MP3, Lux is officially in Rosewood. Anyways, Rosewood is going to be a part of this event, and I have a set coming up. And the reason I bring up Lux is she's doing my visuals for an Outrun synthwave DJ
Lux
set.
is doing your visuals?
Lux is doing my visuals with some,
Wow.
and the visuals are going to be kind of edited with just some final touches by DS Dude. So Outrun synthwave with a special focus on synthwave with vocals. Visuals courtesy of Lux and DS Dude coming in May. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a 2-day event spanning at least 4 different collectives. It's going to be amazing. There is a trailer for one other thing. Daniel, thank you for reminding me. I actually did forget. There is a upcoming event in later this month. Keep me honest, guys. I believe it is April 24, Saturday, April 24. We have a Rosewood event that has been organized by our dear leader, Kev. Kevin is throwing an event with a lot of the IRL and Titan Radio people. And there is a trailer that just came out for that today that I'm going to drop a link for as you are giving your shout outs and just notable things. So I'll pass that off to you and I will find that link.
Sure. I have a lot of stuff that will eventually be coming out that's on various comps or remixes. I'm going to try and just limit to what I know is coming out sooner rather than later. So right now I do have, speaking of singles, a new single that will be coming out soon called Vapor Never Sleeps. That is just getting its final mastering touches done by Zach from Doom Trip. And
oh, shit.
The artwork is being designed then that's almost done, and so that should be out probably in a week or so. Maybe I think probably everything will be done by then. In addition to that, I have a song coming up on Winter Quilt's O Discordia remix album. I remixed his Cloven Hoof for that album. That album will also feature Cell Shade, Alpha Chrome Yayo, Eyeliner. Who else is on that? Eyeliner. Oh, Donor Lens and Hong Kong Express, I believe, and that'll be out soon. And then I also have an ambient album that's in the style of like a song like One O Tricks Point Never's Russian Mind or Emerald's Does It Look Like I'm Here? So that's a side project called.
I cannot wait for that to drop.
Yeah, so that's a side project called Master. And it's also going to feature guitar work in addition to the way I made it was I have a bunch of synthesizers that are running a bunch of sequences that are juggled around each other, almost like children on a playground. And then I have some people who have added some guitar textures to a lot of the tracks as well. And that includes Donor Lens and has added guitar textures to a song. Golden Living Room has also done a song. Winter Quilt has also done a song. Hawaii 94 is working on a song, and Tower of the Sun as well. So that'll be pretty cool. And the theme of that album is life. I'll go into more detail when it starts getting closer. I still have to the synthesizer parts are done, and I have most of everybody's contributions for the collaborations. I just have to mix together one more time and then send it off for mastering and then fucking figure out artwork. That's going to be a thing. So that'll probably be out in a few months. And a bunch of compilations that will eventually come out that I'll be on. I'll announce them later, though.
The Skelly Never Sleeps.
Yes, Vapor Never Sleeps. It's fun song. A lot of fun synthy automation I've done for that one. You'll hear it soon.
Cannot wait.
Oh, and of course, also I'll be participating in the festival that Be Careful is organizing that you just mentioned earlier.
I can't wait.
Homesick Fest. And for that, I'm going to theme my performance around my Glows the Melts album. I'm going to try and create a whole visual experience for that feels like
the man that does his own visuals.
Well, I do a lot of my own visuals, which try to give the idea of that feeling of when you're walking through a old rental section and you get to the horror movie portion in like a cheap, like a knockoff Blockbuster. Like when you go to like a knockoff Blockbuster and you used to like kind of travel through, like they had the stickers, like a sticker with 99 cents for rental written in pen on the sticker on top of the box. You know what I mean? And like it's the cheap one. It's the cheap rental store. Try to give that sort of. That's kind of like what the feel of the album's like. I'm trying to see if I can translate that visually.
Shout out to Molo360 for giving me the information about Homesick Fest, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Molo's always on it.
Also, be
Molo
careful,
is
a
very
great
special
guy,
to us
and
all.
listen to his Liminal. What's it? Liminal Cove.
Liminal
That's
Spaces
the name?
album. Yeah, you
no,
shouted
is it
that
Liminal
out.
Cove, right? Or is it Liminal Spaces? I thought it was Liminal
Is it?
Cove.
It's, you know what? It probably is. Are you
something like-
pulling a tech honors on me? I thought it was Liminal Cove. I guess I better do some more research.
Great album.
Cool, Chris.
Planting the seed of doubt. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, anything else anyone wants to say? It's getting a little late.
It is getting a little late, and I have to pee. Chris, do we know who is on in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Have we announced that yet?
I do. Oh, I haven't announced it yet. I was just talking to him in a text message. I think that it's time that we get Uniwa on here. Honestly, I think we're going to get Uniwa on here next, and let's have him discuss his experiences in
Awesome.
vaporwave and his position. And Uniwa is a fantastic, one of the most brilliant producers out there right now as well. And you know what, man? Like, I think he's going to have a lot to say about what his experience is in this scene. You know what I mean? What it's
You
like
heard
for
it
him.
here. Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific, the 26th, Uniwa. Go ahead, Tech. What's up?
Want to say something real quick. Obsidian Allure said, "Tech, please sing
Oh.
more on future DDS tracks."
So
for
that
voices."
as shout
That would be
shout
great.
out that would be shout out to her. That is my girlfriend Wendy. She is
Oh.
such a huge
Wendy,
Death
thank you for
Dynamic
tuning
Shroud
in.
fan. I actually remember bringing her to one of the shows that I was playing that we were playing with Virtua 94. Shout out Virtua 94. in
Virtua
Philadelphia.
94.
And, like, James was doing a Death Dynamic Shroud performance, and Wendy was like, "I really like this." I'm like, "Oh well, you're gonna have to listen to
Butterflies
that."
is the shit.
And
Well,
yeah, she loves that song.
Well, I was just gonna say on the new big DDS album, I want to say I sing on 4 songs. on
Nice.
that.
Whoa, you have a beautiful
I
voice.
love it
It's
when you
true,
do it
man.
IRL, man. I saw you
wish
at the New Year's Eve
it's so-
party. Good
Oh,
stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, and trust me, like Wendy has excellent taste in music. Like, you know how we were talking about like pop songs and stuff earlier, and they're like, "Oh, they were over intellectualizing pop music." I'm like,
Right.
you know, like Wendy doesn't even like know pop music. She doesn't even like. She wouldn't even be able to tell you like about
Stays
most
away.
pop music. She doesn't know about it, or she just doesn't like. It doesn't like come across her. Like, she
Yeah.
listens to mostly Witch House.
Well, then
That's
she'll
it.
love my DJ set. Can't wait for you to hear it.
Awesome.
All right, well, if that's it, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up this event. Do we have somebody we can raid?
Yeah, who
Is,
can we raid?
is 3D
Guys,
Blast
who should we raid?
broadcasting?
Or is maybe Pacific Plaza Sleep Pattern doing
Yeah.
something over there?
Let me
You
look
just
and
go on
see if
my-
anyone's live.
Is anybody doing anything right now? Oh boy, who's is anybody doing
Nathan,
anything?
you're about to stream? For real? You're not at work still?
Could raid Project Villain.
What is VIL?
Well, Villain is always streaming because they just
are
Villain,
they really?
they're always they always the stream goes all the time for them.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Project underscore. Oh man, VILL4IN. All right, let's raid
Yeah.
them.
Shout out Villain.
They wanted me to play
Great guy, great
the
label.
trailer for the upcoming Rosewood event, but I don't think my rig is going to be able to handle that, guys. I'm sorry. Wait, Nathan wants to be rated. Are you just in real?
Might be in Rayleigh.
In really?
July. Oh
Watch.
no, it's
This is the part where everyone's going to make fun of me.
This happened last time when we raided 3D Blast and we had to like figure out how to do it.
In Rayleigh.
I like that and like
Thanks for-
you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say thanks for having me.
Oh,
Thank
dude,
you for being here,
absolutely.
man.
Sorry
Are you
for not.
kidding? That actually-
Sorry
Actually
for not.
reminds me. Thank you for being here. I wanted to say that to you before you go, and I miss you, buddy. I hope to hang out with you again soon.
We will. You know.
Yeah,
we will.
miss you, man. Thank you for being here. It was a fun. It's a fun time. It's a fun chat. We always have a fun chat on
All
these
right.
on these things, you know.
Monica,
Had a
thank
good
And it
you.
was this was no exception. This was one of the most fun. Thank you.
Guys,
Awesome.
thank you again for
All right.
being here. Thank you for being patient with me. We are rating Nathan right now.